lingering effects of COVID-19.
During a Tuesday speech, the president coughed repeatedly.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
The White House says Mr. Biden has tested negative for COVID every day since Saturday. Spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says the president experiences occasional coughs independent of COVID.
What he's experiencing right now is the lingering effects of COVID.
The 79-year-old president recently suffered his second bout of COVID-19 and was isolated for over 2 weeks. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Businessman Tim Michels, endorsed by former President Trump, has won the Republican primary for governor in Wisconsin. Michels defeating former Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Clayfish, who was endorsed by former Vice President Pence. Again on Wall Street this hour, Dow futures 431 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Mike Winter is out once again. Sean Smalls inside your studios. And you're probably not hearing me right now unless, of course, you're listening via KSVPTV.com. Because right now we're dealing with a massive power outage. As I check, I'm trying to check our signal right now. Yeah, we are completely out and working on it. We've got top men on the situation. Hopefully they're dealing with things.
Yes.
But as it stands, we are currently off the air. You can tune in to our show via KSVPTV.com.
Also on YouTube and Facebook.
And on YouTube and Facebook. So I guess now is not the time to break out the 7 words you can't say on the radio, right? I mean, we're not on the radio technically, so I feel like I want to cuss.
I mean, if it's internet only, I don't think...
You can cut this part out, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
can you? I need your word that you can cut this part out. That
it won't be on the highlight.
This won't go out over the air, over the major FM airwaves.
That's on you. I don't know if
do I have your word, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. Shit, piss, fuck, cut, cock, sucker, motherfucker, and tits. I just need to get that out. That's all. Okay. Now, 7 minutes after 7 o'clock. I know Grace is listening right now. She's probably calling the FCC as we speak. But we are still technically on the air. We're just not on the radio. So we're working on XL. There was a massive power outage last night. And I know you're still shaking about that. I'm fine. If I lose my job, I lose my job. There was a massive power outage last night, and we lost power to pretty much just us. Like it feels like the storm was very targeted, like it just hit our tower, and the guy that lives right behind our tower.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is that the phone? Oh, I thought I heard the phone. Okay, so so we're currently off the air right now, but we are operating under the guise that we are on the air. Minus the 7 words you can't say on the radio. Yeah. Never mind that. We are currently operating under the guise that we are not on the radio. We will hopefully be up in the very near future. We've got folks working on it. And actually, as the answer that I got was, we don't know when it's going to be fixed. This is how it was answered to me. Okay. According to XL Energy, Due to a large-scale outage in your area, we do not have an estimated restoration time right now. So,
This is an overall power outage?
Yeah, just overall out. We're out.
All right.
But we will be back on our FM airwaves in the very near future. But for our online audience, if you want to tune in, you can head over to ksvptv.com or over on Facebook and or YouTube. You can find our videos there. Just head for the KSVP TV channel, and you can find those videos as well. We do have a busy show for you today. Coming up in the 7 o'clock hour at around 7:15 or so, we'll be sitting down chatting with the Chaves County Federated Republican Women. I'm not sure if it's going to be Rebecca Dow, Margaret Kinnard, who it's going to be exactly, but we'll find out for sure, and we'll be chatting with them coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, around 7:15 or so. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, we'll be chatting with the Roswell Independent School District Superintendent, Mr. Brian Luck. We're kicking off the 2022-2023 school year, and it's a busy season. So we'll be chit-chatting with him coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, we don't have a guest scheduled, so I figured we'd replay the interview we had earlier this week with Miss Amy McVeigh-Tejas and Colonel Jason Garcia from the Historical Society for Southeastern New Mexico. They've got a big event coming up, a trip down memory lane, if you will, and they are definitely looking for you. The deadline was Monday, but it's not too late. It's not too late. So get signed up if you want to be a part of a trip down memory lane. But all that, of course, coming up this morning alongside all your other hourly features, which include Kim Commando, Sean Hannity, your Wall Street Business Update, any other things that grace the hallowed desk here at Roswell's Talk FM. 11 minutes after 7 o'clock, let's get you up to date with the weather. In a minute.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have low pressure over southern New Mexico and that moist air from the monsoon moving a little bit into our area today. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, partly cloudy, and our afternoon high in the low 90s. Pretty good chance of rain and thunderstorms for the overnight hours. Will drop into the upper 60s. Sunshine to start the day on Thursday, and then scattered late-day thunderstorms are high near 90. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 73 degrees round Roswell Way. Humidity 74%. We are overcast round Roswell. Currently winds out of the north at about 5 miles an hour. Barometer about 30.25 inches with a dew point of 64 degrees. Looking at a 20 to 50% chance of heavy rain today with 91 degrees for the high. 60% chance of rain overnight with 70 degrees for the overnight low. And those rain chances could bring heavy rain with the potential for hail as well. 40% chance of rain on your Thursday with 92 for the high, 94 for the high on Friday with slight chance of showers and or thunderstorms, and a slight chance for thunderstorms and partly cloudy skies. Looking at 68 for the overnight low on Friday night. For Saturday, 94 for the high under mostly sunny skies. It's going to be a wet one. Partly cloudy, 68 for the overnight low. And then for your Sunday, mostly sunny, 96 degrees for the high. Any word on our guest? Yeah, I'm not thinking they're going to show up. You know what we're going to do? We're going to replay the interview we had with Alan Getty. We had that earlier this week, last week. Mike had that interview with Alan Getty. We'll rerun that interview coming up later this hour. I'm assuming our guest probably won't show up because we are not on the radio. But for those folks online, we will still have some content for you. And as soon as we get back up, we will be back with you inside your radios. So stick around. We're going to take a quick break, pay a couple bills, and we'll be back on the other side of a morning without Mike Winters and also without FM radio. Stay tuned.
Find your path to a greater future at Eastern New Mexico University. With degrees offered both on campus and online, ENMU has the flexibility that you're looking for, and with the New Mexico Opportunity Scholarship, New Mexico residents can now start, continue, or finish their bachelor's degree tuition-free at ENMU. For more information, visit enmu.edu. Eastern New Mexico University. Student success, that's what we're about.
Buying a sewing machine from a big box store or online might seem like a bargain, but in this case, you really do get what you pay for. Just the machine. No lessons, no help with figuring out why it isn't working the way you expect, and no one close to fix it. Buying locally from an authorized retailer may cost a little more, but in the end, it will save you time, money, and aggravation. Come see me, Chris Ann, at So Easy Sewing, 200 East College Boulevard in Roswell, and let me show you why it pays to shop local. So Easy Sewing. You've never had it so easy.
Well, the biting bugs and the ferocious flyers are out in force, and if you don't take care of them now, you'll be swatting and scratching all summer. Makes me itchy just thinking about it. Hi, this is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company. Whether it's keeping the fleas and ticks off your animals or keeping the flies and mosquitoes away from your barbecue, you gotta use the right stuff, and you gotta do it at the right time. So come see us now at Roswell Seed Company, and don't let the bugs tick you off. Get it? Tick.
The Bulls are coming to Roswell, and the savings are coming to Roswell Nissan. We have a selection of over 25 brand new vehicles on the lot, so you can ride away today in an all-new 2022 Frontier, Pathfinder, or Rogue. And the pre-owned lot is stocked with herds of practically new vehicles in stock, with many 20s and 21s in stock. And we have over 100 vehicles on the lot. When no one has vehicles, Nissan does. Get ready for bull riding action and head for Roswell Nissan, 2111 West 2nd, official sponsor of the PBR weekend, August 12th and 13th.
The average American spends 2.5 days a year looking for lost items. We aren't sure how long Europeans and Asians look for lost stuff. We lost the list. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 17 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio, I guess some could say pastor, some, neighbor, school board, served on the school board as well.
Ex officiato.
But let's add another title, author. Alan Getty joining us in studio this morning. Good morning. How you doing today?
Good morning, Mike. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Good.
Doing great.
Good.
Well, of course, for folks who don't know, you do a lot of work over at Grace Community Church here, pastoring, mentoring to the folks there. How's life going there? And I know there are always 100 things going on at Grace Community Church. So
there are, but things are going really well. We're doing really well. Like all churches, we've kind of come out of this weird season, and we're it's good.
Yeah.
Things are good.
Well, and as churches should and do, Grace Community Church serves as a home for Roswell for many, not just for God and things, but the programs and various other organizations that share like-minded, values and things.
Absolutely.
But definitely, there's a lot of groups that call Grace Community Church home that in a technical sense aren't affiliated with the church.
Right. You have some of them. You have some of them that come on here sometimes.
So it
right?
really is a gathering place for the community as much as it is a place for worshiping God. Too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that about Grace.
Yes,
it's one of my favorite things.
But so all through this, through all of that Alan, I guess you decided to write a book here, and the title of the book, which is available on Amazon, I'm assuming you can get a copy at Grace Community Church.
Yeah, Barnes and Noble, Apple Books.
Yeah,
it's everywhere you want to buy a book.
Everywhere, major outlet that you buy books from, that it's available from.
Exactly.
The book is called Unless the Lord. It's a book about trusting the Lord through Psalm 127.
Exactly.
So it's basically, it sounds like it's giving the biblical reference and expanding on it, saying, if you follow this is kind of this is God's keys to a happy life kind of thing. If you, that's in essence what the book's about, right?
It is. It is actually, in essence, it's exactly what the book is about.
Okay.
So it's, I basically, I mean, my story, and it's in the book, is I didn't know the Lord as a child. I didn't know the Lord until I was a teenager.
Okay.
And just sort of when I got married, my wife, Tamara, she talked to me about this verse because I love to hunt.
Okay.
I just love to hunt.
That's your passion.
Yeah, it's like, it's right up there.
I want to be in the woods when I'm not in church.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and she showed this verse to me, and of course, in the middle of this verse, it says, "Happy is the man," it says, "whose quiver is full of children." And it was like the arrows, and I was like, "Oh yeah, hunter."
I can relate.
But as I read that verse over and over, and it kind of became our life verse.
Mm-hmm.
We would do things, and we would say, "No, this is what God wants us to do," and people go, "You're crazy. God doesn't want you to do that." And we would go, no, we really believe that. And we have just noticed after 30 years of being married and 6 children and just life that it's worked. It's not, we're not rich.
Sure.
We're not running around with millions of dollars, but
we're
happy.
Yeah.
And
that, in and of itself, that's the real richness. I mean, you think about it. I mean, it's money obviously is something that, you can lead the world with the money here, but at the end of the day, it only gets you so far.
That's right.
It may get you the nicest car and the nicest house and the nicest things, but if you have no warmth, no heart, nobody to enjoy that with, no one to share that with, and what good is it?
That's right.
That's right. And at the end of the day, I think that's the reminder. It's like, sure, work hard, earn money, but if you're not using it on people and sharing it with people and connecting to people, then what wealth do you have?
Exactly. And that is one of the things that I talk a lot about, is just the idea that, I grew up in a household where my parents worked very hard to make ends meet.
Sure.
Just to make ends meet. And so I grew up in this thought process that if I wanted more, I had to work harder. If I wanted more, I had to do this, I had to do that. And I met so many people that worked 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And then you realize that they were sad.
Mm-hmm.
And I started looking at it and I thought, in this verse and in all throughout the Bible, it talks about that regardless of what you do, God is still the provider.
Right.
And you could work 80 hours a week. God still is the provider.
Mm-hmm.
You may have worked it, but in the end, you could work 80 hours a week and your boss could look at you and go, I don't have any money. I can't pay you.
Sure. Exactly. Yeah, you're right.
So that idea.
And that probably happens quite, more often than you think.
Right. It could happen.
Yeah.
Right. And so that idea of just sort of saying, okay, God, this is what I'm doing for you. And I'm going to allow you to provide for my family, provide for my health, provide for my children.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do anything. There's nothing I can do to protect, provide, or support my children. Because in the end, I have a daughter right now who lives in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
She goes to UNM. Sure, I can watch her when she drives home.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have this really cool device that I can do everything with. But in the end, if her tire blows or a deer pops out in front of her,
sure,
I can't protect her in that situation.
Right.
I have to totally depend on God to protect her.
Yeah.
And whatever
makes
happens,
sense.
I have to depend on the fact that it's good.
Sure. And at the end of the day, and this is, when we talk about God and free will and your ability to make your own choices, and at the end of the day, that's the only thing you really control is you're choosing to go one path or another.
That's right.
You surround yourself with family and raise family, and you just try to give them all the tools you can. But at the end of the day, you got to pray and hope that they choose to make those same decisions you want them to make.
That's right.
And that's where you're talking about. It's like, sure, you could build the biggest fortress in the world, but you can't make the people you love stay in it.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. And it is. It's hard to, even as a parent of 6 children, and now I have 3 adult children and 3 children at home now. And I have one daughter that lives in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I have a grandchild in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I don't even get to see them that much. I totally have to depend on that. We were going over there to visit for Christmas one year. It was before they had the baby. And we get a phone call halfway there. Our daughter's going to the hospital because they hit a patch of ice and rolled over.
Ooh.
And, you realize just how not in control I am.
Yeah. But, and then I also, and this is where I go into, and this is where you can kind of get into the other, why would God want this or why would, but, we all, we're all on our tests, I think. You know what I mean? We're all here, trying to carve our own paths and do things the way we envision God, most of us want
right.
that life to be. And let's face it, we're humans. We make mistakes. We think, even if we think it's the most righteous or right thing to do, sometimes that's not the plan. But God gives us these tests to, I think, make us better and to give us the tools for what we're going to deal with later in life. I think that's kind of, in my heart, I think there's a reason for all that. Even though we don't understand it or know, and this is where faith comes in, and this is, Christianity at its core. You don't know what's going to happen next. You just have the faith to know that God's got the plan, and He's going to take care of you when that time comes.
That's right, and that's a huge faith issue.
Yeah,
it is. And one of the things I say, not in the book, but just in general, is we're all on a journey, and that journey. One of the things I've really enjoyed, and I've been working at churches, but I've been at Grace now 11 years. And I think one of the reasons I just love being at Grace is because we just sort of say it's your journey.
Sure.
We want to show you a purpose for your life. We're going to give you purpose, but how you do that is
we're giving you the tools, what you do with them. It's like, it's no different than, say, you go to train to be a mechanic, and they give you the most awesome, expensive toolbox in the world. But if you don't fix cars with it, what good's that toolbox? You know what I mean?
Well, it can be really pretty.
Yeah, it makes great decor.
And put that in your garage and shine it up.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of, and so this book, it really, obviously you're looking at through a family perspective and saying, this is our key here. But I would probably say that the lessons taught here translate in all aspects of life.
Yeah.
Obviously, most of us, we all got to have work to earn income to support ourselves and our family.
That's right.
Those relationships, they can be very frustrating in times, and I think using some of these, listening and reading this book and then going back and through the Bible and reading the verses and you have a better understanding. I think the lesson you're going to come from that is, like you said earlier, you can only control what you control. The rest are God's plan. You can make someone all day try to see your point of view on a particular issue at a job, but you're not going to change them. They're going to ultimately make that choice for themselves. When you understand and accept that fact, maybe you won't beat yourself up trying to make them convinced of your way of thinking.
Well, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And because, let's face it, we live in a world now where stress levels are at a high time, and people are going to react unrationally sometimes just because you're in a mental state where it's that fight or flight feeling, or you're backed into a corner. You always hear the most dangerous people are the ones you got backed into a corner. There's a reason for that, because they're unpredictable.
Well, that's right.
And it's fight or flight, survival. And when you get in that mindset, I'm not talking, but even though the argument, it's in the same ballpark here. Once you understand and realize, look, sometimes you just got to let that go and let them go on their path, and they're going to find out one way or another, what you believe. And
that's right.
And there is some point where you don't want to suck yourself down into the same, because at the end of the day, I believe if you go to that level, you're done. You're not respected. You're not going to be taken seriously, and all the good things you're trying to do are now going to be negated by that.
Right.
I think, reading this book and will give you some of the guide and tools to understand, the poker game. Know when it's time to be the lion, when it's time to be the sheep or be the lamb. And
absolutely.
And I think that's life's lesson.
Yeah.
There's going to be times when God wants us to be the lion and be the leader. And then there's times He wants us to be the lamb and say, follow the people, follow me, follow the ones that know where we're going here.
That's right.
And have trust in that. And
that's right.
That's Christianity in a nutshell.
Yeah,
it really is.
It really is, man. I think one of the things I really, by the way, when I first decided I was going to write a book, I didn't think that by the end of it, I wouldn't like it very much. And I loved it, and I did. I think it's a great book, but I've read it so many times now.
Yeah.
And I see all the things I could have done better. But I hope that people really understand the meat of it is that, if you just look at God and go, okay, Lord, I get that this was not how I wanted this to go.
Right.
But man, it's still really good. And you can begin to look at your life from not this idea of I wish it was better.
Right.
But it's good.
Yeah.
And life is good.
Well, and that's just it. You don't. I think it reminds you of the good things you have,
right?
Sometimes, because there is that. I'm just sweating profusely. It's getting this muggy getting here. I'm like,
I'm getting there too.
Yeah.
Okay,
you're getting warm for you
Calm
too.
down,
Good. All
calm
right,
down.
making sure. Let's get the muggy back. That's why I'm not wearing headphones anymore. The mugginess is moving in. But so I'm kind of curious because you're talking about writing this book and you're reading it, and we're all very critical of ourselves and things. I don't know how many times people come. Is that how I sound like on the radio? I sound awful. It's that same area.
That's
where
right.
I think we think about that stuff. But for you, so what? I mean, did you always have? Are you a writer to begin with? Like, are you someone that writes a lot in your personal life, or because it's a leap. People. There's lots of people say, "I should write a book." Yeah, I should write a book. But then when it's time to sit in front of the keyboard and start typing, where do you start? Where do you go? How do you structure? So, what was that path for you? Was it something you had advice, experience to, or you just said, "I'm going to start pecking away and see what happens here"?
Well, I mean, going through one of the things about seminary is you do a lot of writing.
Yeah.
But I'm not a writer. I never envisioned ever in my life that I would write a book.
Gotcha.
But this particular passage, and I think I'm going to write more now. I feel pretty confident that I've written a book that can help people.
Sure. And obviously it's good enough for it to get published and I mean,
yeah.
So somebody agrees with you.
Yeah,
that's what
they
I'm saying.
would.
You know what I mean? And so that's and trust me, in the book world, it's a lot easier now because you can do self-publishing and things.
Right.
But let's face it, to get a book, especially available on all the platforms you have it on, that takes some people believing in you and doing and seeing what you're doing and saying so. So I think your instincts are right, and people will agree with you because now you have a book that's available worldwide.
Yeah, and that's really. Which, by the way, when you say that, just kind of floors me. Because when I first started writing it, it was kind of just the passion of the idea that what I did was I took stories, hunting, camping, kind of my life, how you
relate it, yeah,
and sort of related that to this idea of this very, very short passage. Probably as far as passages go that you would write a book on, you would want a lot more.
Sure.
But this was it. And when I decided to write it, I had my wife was tremendously supportive. Like for Christmas, before I wrote it, she bought me this little writer's box and a little recorder and some notes.
So she's doing all the stuff a spouse does when they're supporting their partner in their passion or pursuit or dream.
Yeah, she rocked it. Like
Nice.
It was just like, man, I really need. It was kind of like I came out of Christmas and went, I better write this book.
Yeah, she kind of lit the fire. It's like she bought all this stuff. I better do something with it. We're going to hear about this the rest of the marriage.
Exactly. And what I remember thinking is I didn't know where to begin. I didn't know how to start it.
Yeah.
And I had kind of a friend who has written a few books and he's more of an acquaintance. I shouldn't call him a friend, but we talk and I emailed him and I said, how did you start your first book? And he goes, I just started writing. He said, I set up a time every day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to write. And he said, I started with 30 minutes and then it just moved from there.
Sure. Kind of like working out.
Right.
It's like start slow and then build yourself up.
Yeah, it is the same way. And so I just did. I just started writing. And I love to tell stories. Half of this book is just stories.
Well, and that's what people want, Well, and I imagine that's how you relate to the message. Because we can all read Psalm 127 in the Bible. We don't need you to do that, what I'm saying? We can all do that.
Yeah.
But your stories, your interpretation of that and how you have applied it to your life, that's where the book is. And that's where you're saying, look, y'all read it too. This is how you do it. It's like you read it and you're like, well, what does that mean to me? And now you can see what it means to Alan here.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you're going to read it and be like, you know what? I can relate to that. I can relate. Maybe you're not into hunting, but the things that happen in those adventures relate to other aspects of your life. The relationships. I'm sure there's stories with your family and hunting and things those
friends,
experiences.
Family.
You probably had very similar conversations with your loved ones. It may have just been in a restaurant or in your family room instead of out in the woods.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's, so I did, I just started writing, and I would sit down and I would just write, and I would write, and I would go, and even as I wrote something, I would be like, oh, I should do this here.
Mhm.
I think this would be really cool. So it is stories, but it's my stories. And then it's another story from the Bible that I feel like really hits on that.
Gotcha.
And because, Psalm 127 it's very short. It's 5 verses, and that's it. And so, and even some of the verses are split up into 2 sections. But the idea was, I was like, man, this Bible story talks about this.
Yeah.
Ruth and Naomi, that works for this part of this. And Gideon, how it fits with protection and
Sure.
just all of those different things. And I'm like, what a cool thing. And that's what I did. And I just started at it. And then after, it took me about 7 months to write it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it took me another 3 months to edit it, my editing.
Right. Before
And
the editor
Before I
editors.
even sent it to the publisher and
Sure.
said, I submitted it to the publisher. And
did you use your wife or another family member as like your sounding board to read everything and kind of give you notes and critique and things?
Definitely, I would say I would talk to people about it.
Okay.
I didn't like, hey, read this.
Right.
They would have, but ultimately, I was kind of.
Well, that's why I kind of maybe your wife or someone.
Oh my gosh,
someone
she
more
was-
intimate in your family or your household.
It was huge to talk through things that I was thinking
Mhm.
and writing, like, because as I was writing, I would be like, wow, this is a big deal. Like, you wouldn't think about it. And I'm sure I had thought about it in my life. It was one of the reasons I wanted to write the book. But I would come to this point and I'd be writing and I'd be like, Tamara, you listen to this.
Yeah.
I was writing and this is what popped up.
Sure.
And then
It's
and then
almost like you were, like it was a feeling of, you were in control of your thoughts and everything, but sometimes when it's flowing, it's, you almost get in like an automatic pilot mode where maybe some of the other things you're not focused on, and it's just you and the keyboard and your brain, and even if you're does that make
Right.
sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
You get in that zone a little bit there.
Yeah, I felt there were times Jesus comes into my life and as I'm writing this book, I just felt at certain times like I wasn't even writing it.
Like you're just the pen.
It was just the Spirit took over.
Yeah.
And there were things like my daughter read the book, one of the first people obviously my family, read the book pretty fast. And my daughter read the book and she sent me this quote from the book. She goes, "This floored me. I love this." And I don't remember writing it.
Yeah, you just kind of like
I wrote that?
Yeah.
And I'm sure I've read it.
Sure.
And I've read it and I did write it, but I was like, wow, I didn't.
Well, and I believe our brains, we know a lot more than we realize we know sometimes. And it's just things I think, because, obviously in science and everything, we there's so little about the brain, I think, in the scheme of things we truly know. You know what I mean? I think we're just scratching the surface on that kind of stuff. But that being said, I think, there's stuff that comes in parts we understand where that is like there's stuff here that we just don't realize it, we don't access it, and then when the time's right, some would say maybe God opens that channel for you, maybe it whatever, maybe something else triggered it, but whatever it is, something's triggering this other space, and I think
that's right.
It's kind of like when you get into hypnotism and they try to get they use that as a tool to try to get you to remember something. Usually it's like traumatic events, things like that.
Right.
Stuff that your brain does to protect you.
Right, absolutely. Blocking things out.
I think there's something else going on in there that it's like, we're going to store it, and you may not need it now, but when the time's right, we're gonna hit you with it. You know what I mean? I think that's something in that. And again, I don't understand it. We probably won't, but God does, and He seems to work that out pretty good.
Does, yeah.
So, that's what I believe.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right.
So now that once you get basically a book, how do you go to the process of saying, I got a book? How do we get it on Amazon and everywhere else?
Well, that was the publisher.
Okay.
I
guess, is it just pitching the book to as many publishers as you can and see what sticks?
I pitched it to one.
Oh, and it just
so they were like, "Yes, we'll publish your book."
So you didn't have to shop it. You get first crack, and well, that probably speaks volumes for what you wrote. I mean, if the first person that you offer it to says, "I'll take it," that's a pretty good endorsement right there.
Yeah, I mean, I it's really weird. I constantly felt like it was fake.
Mm-hmm. Right. You're waiting for like that fake lottery ticket, like $1 million, really?
Yeah,
and it's like, haha, that's not real.
And then because when publishers, at least as far as I know, obviously there's big publishers, right?
Sure.
Big publishers, big authors.
Yeah, the ones that write, publish Tom Clancy and Stephen King books all day.
They're on contract. Obviously, I'm pitching the book.
Yeah.
So there was some financial investment I had to make into it. I didn't think it was much. But I paid, I paid them to kind of do all of this.
Gotcha.
But I still only pitched it to one, and I didn't know if that was good or bad.
Sure.
It wasn't like I went to Zondervan.
Yeah, right. But I'm guessing that's standard operating procedure for anyone that's not John Grisham.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. You're probably right. Right. Like Rick Warren. They're like, yeah, no, right up, please, let's. Yeah. So yeah, that was that. And I didn't have to, once it was in their hands, it was really about me sort of approving their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a long process. So I started that August of last year was when they accepted it. When the publisher accepted it and said, we've got the manuscript. Here's your timeline. And they would send it to me and I'd have to read it and go through their edits. They would edit it. We're not talking about, it was funny. You would think it was just grammar,
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, well, you need a comma here and this should be a period. But sometimes it wasn't. It was like, most readers don't like it when you say stuff this way.
Okay.
It was like,
so they were phrasing and things.
Really going through, and they would highlight, and I would have to go through, and then I would send that back and be like, okay, I like this edit. I don't like this edit. I like this edit.
Did they give you some talking? Like if you did disagree with an edit, would you have the ability to fight for it?
Yeah. Oh,
gotcha.
Yeah. They would say, I would say, this is why I said that. And they would go, oh, well, that makes sense.
Okay.
We see where you're headed with that.
So once you explain your logic to them, they're like, all right, now I get the, okay.
Yeah.
But, so it wasn't like Gestapo, you must change that to he and this for we won't publish it.
Right. Well, and it was really cool is they would say stuff like, here's why we think this.
Okay.
So we get what you're saying, but
sure.
we think if you just phrased it this way, it flows better. And I'd be like,
let's face it, they've been probably publishing books a lot longer. You've been writing them, so
exactly.
They probably do know that. So yeah.
So that was that, and then of course everything they did, it was really them. I mean, even like now it's when they first started. Like, hey, your book's done.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yay. And then they're like, but it's not totally done. Like, we still have some other things to do. So we have to do a press release and we have to do this and we have to do that. So as they were just going through that process, they just said, and this is when it will really be published. And it really, just like this week, I got the email that said, your book is now fully published.
Nice. So really, first of the month here, it's kind of all starting to come up to the world here.
But I've had the book for months.
Yeah.
And I've been giving it out to people and
so locals have got the first crack at it.
Yeah,
here,
well, especially Grace, obviously, right?
Yeah.
I had a book signing kind of thing where I was like, hey, if you guys buy a book for this price, I will sign it and send it off and you get it. You will get it as soon as I get them.
Oh, cool.
And so that was kind of cool for Grace because let's be honest, Grace had to support it too.
Absolutely.
Obviously Rick and the deacons and everybody had to be like, no, Alan, we're going to give you this time.
And at the end of the day, even though, you're your own man and your own thing, your actions and what you do, because people know you as part of the Grace family and everything else, by default, you're kind of a representative of the church and the outside. Whether you wanted that or not, that's what it is.
That's right.
So especially when you're writing a religious book, they're going to want to make sure that it jives with what they're saying, too.
Right. Exactly. Absolutely. Very true. Very, very true. Yeah.
So, yes, they're going to, and obviously Rick and everyone else was like, Alan, this is perfect, and they hit the ground running with you, and here we are today with the book, and it's on Barnes & Noble and Amazon and everywhere that you can find paperback books today.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. It's really cool.
Yeah. So please, now we got to ask, when's a copy going to show up in our public libraries and everything? Hopefully
I
it'll
don't
be pretty
know,
quick.
right?
Maybe we can check out. Maybe wait a little bit so we can sell some copies. But after a time, let's put a free one in the library for
I
folks,
can
too.
put a free one in the library. I have. I mean, I give them out. I didn't even.
Sure.
That's the weird part about it is I'm like, how does it work now?
Yeah.
You know, do I? And so that was why I kind of was
and
like.
I think it, at least from my understanding is, you know, where now you have to become the promotion machine.
Right.
And again, you know, John Grisham and those guys, they've got a whole team of people that do that. But a first-time author, you got to go and go door to door and hawk your book, basically.
Right, and that's basically so. The cool thing the publisher did is they sent out basically a promotion booklet, and they had several other options in there, but they just said, "Here's what you do." And so that's what I started doing. And so that's why I sent you an email. Yeah. And, you know, the paper did a little thing in the Visions, I think a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
They called and said, hey, we'll do that for you. And so, So I'm going to just start doing that now.
Okay. You going to do some book signing events or something like at the church or maybe somewhere in town here?
Once I get really moving, I want to do that as well. You know, I started, I have a website now.
Okay.
unlessthelord.org.
Okay.
Somebody can go there and buy the book through that as well.
Perfect.
But also there's some other things on there. I have a podcast.
Oh, great.
Unless the Lord. All of it.
It's all connected.
You can get the idea.
Yeah.
So I have
it's like The Shack. Remember when The Shack came out and there was The Shack everything?
The Shack everything. So I was like, man, I should get some T-shirts. Little license plate ring. So I'm really trying to do that. I've had the podcast for a while now.
Okay. But, of course, that probably covers, everything from I mean, God, but I imagine even probably covers some of the stuff you cover in church on Sundays and Wednesdays.
Yeah,
too,
I mean, I talk about everything. Like a couple weeks ago, I looked at the front of my hood and there were dirt spots on the hood, and I thought, man, when we talk about being washed by the blood of Jesus, I wonder how many times we just get sprinkled and we just leave all the dirt everywhere because we didn't really accept that grace. And I was like, oh, that's a good podcast. So that's what I do. That's how I come up with my stuff. But yeah, I'm just sort of like this idea of unless the Lord has become a mantra. Like, kind of like for me anyway, remember when the bracelets came out, what would Jesus do? Of course, that was a big hit.
Yeah.
Kind of that idea, like, unless the Lord is in this, I don't know that I want to do it.
Sure.
And that can be a big question I have to ask myself. And I think it'd be cool if we started asking it like, wow, unless the Lord is in me honking my horn and giving this guy the finger, should I really do it?
Right.
And I mean, I'm a pastor. I don't flip the bird.
But you feel it.
But I felt it, right?
Yeah, you want to.
I thought about it.
You are a human being, and you get angry or frustrated or happy just like every other human being on the planet. You react accordingly. And that's kind of at the gist of what I was talking about earlier, that a lesson in the book is at the end of the day, that person that cut you off, and here's the thing, they don't care that you want to flip the bird or anything. It does no good.
Nope.
Maybe for a tenth of a second you feel good about yourself. Like, yeah, I got that guy. But then afterwards, you're like, then about an hour later, you're like, I think I sounded like a child there. That was kind of dumb. And you regret it,
Right. And in our world today, I mean, Mike, you know this.
Yeah.
It's ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And people are ugly to each other, and people are mean to each other. And I think, if I could have even one person read my book and go, you know what, I'm just gonna follow this idea and be nice, and love people. I don't have to love everything about you, but I can love you.
Sure.
I mean, come on. And if we're nice, this world changes.
Well, and at the end of the day, I think that's God's message. When we talk about it, we're all God's children. Love God's children.
Yep.
If God's children do wrong, that's God's job to take care of. You know what I mean? Sure, we can guide, try to change people and try to mentor them, but at the end of the day, it's God's plan.
That's right.
God's judgment. We don't judge. We're not the ones to judge. There's a lot of verses and quotes in the Bible telling us we're not the ones to judge. You just love.
That's right.
And let him take care of the judging.
That's right. Love God, love people. And
Yeah.
I feel like, man, when the publisher does the back cover, which I thought was interesting, because I read it and I'm like, man, I'd like to write like that. But I just think that when I read the back cover, I said, I want to read my book. You know, how,
it enticed you,
right?
This is a good thing.
The culture around us, the things that are going on in the world today can just drive you right down, man.
Yeah.
They can beat you up if you dwell on those things.
Absolutely. And that's why you gotta let it go sometimes.
That's
and
right.
Say it's God's plan. I can control what I can control, and what I can't, I gotta let go.
Yeah, and let him deal with it and be happy.
Yeah.
And treat people well, and I don't see how that's a bad thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm just like, it's good.
Yeah. Doing good for people is never the wrong decision.
That's right.
Yeah. For folks just tuning in, Alan Getty's joining us here. The book is called Unless the Lord, a book about trusting the Lord through Psalm 127. It's available on paperback everywhere you get books, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, or if you just come on down to Grace Community Church and we can get a copy there for
That's
you.
right.
And obviously be on the lookout for book signings and things. But, of course, if
That's
you want
right.
to get a signed copy, and Alan be happy to take care of all that
call the
stuff.
church and let me know.
Yeah.
I'll come to your work.
Yeah.
Sign it. Also, it's ebook, too. So.
Oh, good. So if you want to do down your Kindles and all that stuff,
Kindle,
it's available
Apple,
and all that.
iBooks, yep.
Yeah, good deal. Those are great. Another great way. I like Kindle in some instances, but sometimes I want the book.
Sometimes it's just nice to have
You
it in
need
your
the
hand,
old,
right?
but I
That's
can
right.
appreciate the convenience of a Kindle, especially on vacation or something like that. And you want to lug a bunch of books. It's a godsend.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely.
Speaking of Grace Community Church, they have an event we do want to put on people's radar here. Of course, back to school is today.
Yeah.
Kids are going back to school here, and of course, Grace is celebrating.
That's
back to
right.
School.
I got this guy from his name is Dr. Dan Bellamy, and he'll be at the church on the 12th.
Okay.
Friday the 12th.
Which is next Friday. Yeah, next Friday.
Yeah, at 6 p.m.
Week from tomorrow.
You can go to McDonald's, eat your dinner, and come and watch this guy. And he does inflatable stories. So what he does is he does balloon and I mean, I know that video probably doesn't see the little pictures, but if you see, there's like little humans. He's
they
done
are
all
balloons. Okay.
They're all balloons.
Does he make those like
he
balloon
makes
animals?
them on stage.
They're very elaborate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's fun. He's
Okay.
going to be really good. And it's totally free. We're going to have bins out for Harvest Ministries.
Okay.
Bring your non-perishables.
Sure.
We're going to load up the food banks.
And they can always use your help more.
Oh, my goodness.
The summer months are leaner months for them. And
Right.
good news is back to school is going to help them, but they need help right now.
Yeah.
Bring as many canned goods or non-perishable as you can.
Absolutely. And it's not just for kids. It's for the family.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited to see this.
It sounds
how
like
he does
fun.
with balloons.
Well, and like you said, the picture doesn't do it justice, but to me it looks like he's recreating Sesame Street character, like that caliber of quality of when you see Big Bird and Bert and Ernie on the screen. It's that caliber of quality, but it's all balloon.
Yeah,
it's all the
balloons.
little long balloons that look like hot dogs. They keep folding up into shapes and whatnot.
Insane. Just insane.
Yeah.
So,
and obviously he's probably got a message through all of that.
Yeah, he does. And it's going to be really good. It's going to be a lot of fun. The kids will enjoy it. He gets the kids involved some ways and parents. And so it's free.
Yeah, it's a free event.
And you know what? It's an event. It's a group event.
Yeah.
Come and enjoy hanging out together on Friday night.
And you won't miss football. The high school's not a couple weeks away before Friday night football. So you got a couple weeks.
And I have to do that. My son's playing football, so I know
he's
Friday
on the
nights
team
are
this
busy.
year? Good deal. Good deal. So I bet he's excited.
He is. Well,
Good.
he's still JV, but he has to go to all the games. So
well, and it's the progression.
That's right.
His year's JV. Next year he'll probably be on the varsity team and going through the motions and going to that next level here.
That's right.
So
That's right.
It's growing.
It is. Everything is. Yep.
But again, the book one more time. The book's called "Unless the Lord," a book about about trusting the Lord through Psalm 127. It is available through Amazon, through Borders Book, all the
Barnes and
Nobles, all the national
everything.
outlets that you can get books, and of course locally here, Grace Community Church, you'll find them there. But you can get them online, get all of that stuff, and of course, if you'd like to learn more about the church and everything else, come on out to a Sunday morning service.
Absolutely. 9 o'clock, 10:45.
Yeah.
Right there on 935 West Mescalero.
Yeah.
Next to the big park. So I always tell people there's a big park and there's a big building.
Yeah.
Go to the big building.
That's right. Or, go to the park and then walk on over.
That's
Whatever you
right.
want to do, but it's right there.
And we have something for all ages. I mean, we do everything from 0 all the way up to 100.
Yeah.
We've got something for you on Sunday morning. So, yeah, that'd be great.
Absolutely. And then don't forget, next Friday, the 12th, is their big back-to-school event for free. What time is that?
6 o'clock.
6 p.m. And come out and share the gentleman's name again.
His name is Dr. Dan Bellamy.
Okay. And he's going to be doing, obviously telling some message and stories,
Right.
but at the same time making balloon animals that are going to probably blow you away. So.
That's right. That's right, Mike.
No pun intended there.
I didn't even think about that. Good job.
I didn't either until I said it. Until I said it, I was like, oh, yeah, there's a pun there. Didn't mean it.
Awesome.
Good deal. Al, is there anything we didn't get a chance to cover? Anything we skipped or
I think
dismissed?
we got it, man.
Good deal. Well, thank you. And can't wait to have you back and keep us updated too. Like when and if another book's on the horizon.
I will definitely
here
do that.
And
if I do a book signing here in town,
and if this thing turns into Shack 2, because to be honest, that was a very grassroots thing with a book and a man much like yourself who wrote this story and
a great book.
And then it turned into a phenomenon, and who knows? Maybe this is that one.
Maybe. I'll go with a few copies sold.
Well, if we get too big time on us, we'll know.
That's right.
Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
Thanks a lot,
okay?
Mike. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
All right.
It is 9:57.
For new members, the council's goal is to identify and address health needs in Eddy County, according to Sarah Bowman, the interim coordinator of the council. New Mexico Community Health Councils play key roles in the state's public health system, mobilizing communities, identifying local health needs, and planning and coordinating solutions to access those needs. And a local man and his girlfriend are now arrested for burglarizing several businesses in a 3-week period during June and July in Roswell. The pair targeted 2 vehicle repair shops and a hair salon, stealing more than $20,000 worth of various items. Jesse Miller and Angela Paz are implicated in the case, according to a statement from Roswell Police. The burglaries occurred beginning June 23rd at MTA Mechanics and Tires in the 600 block of South Main Street, then on July 12th at United Auto Repair on East Albuquerque Street, and the July 13th, the Heron Company business at 200 West 3rd. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello reporting.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have low pressure over southern New Mexico and that moist air from the monsoon moving a little bit into our area today. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, partly cloudy, and our afternoon high in the low 90s. Pretty good chance of rain and thunderstorms for the overnight hours. Will drop into the upper 60s. Sunshine to start the day on Thursday, and then scattered late-day thunderstorms are high near 90. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Roswell Nissan presents a WPBR and PBR Rodeo Weekend, Friday and Saturday, August 12th and 13th at the Bob Crosby Arena. Get ready for 2 days jam-packed with bands, bulls, and barbecue. It all kicks off on Friday, August 12th as the men and women take the reins of some of the meanest bulls you've ever seen, with riders from Texas, Arizona, and even south of the border. Then get ready as El Chapo and Concierto Espectáculo Ecuestre con sus caballos de alta escuela take the stage. Then on Saturday, get ready for even more pro bull riding and the first annual Smokers Outpost Barbecue Competition, with up to $3 grand in cash prizes for the best in brisket, whole chicken, and baby back ribs. Then stick around for Los Terrenos de la Feria de Roswell and the Justin Kemp Band live. WPBR and PBR Rodeo Weekend, Friday and Saturday, August 12th and 13th at the Bob Crosby Arena, presented by Roswell Nissan.
Hugh Hewitt is now in Roswell on 106.5 FM KEND Roswell.
This is the owner of Trustmark Roofing, and nothing makes us happier than telling our customers no. As in, no pricing games. We give you a guaranteed price, and then we stand by it. No surprises, no gotchas. No obscurity. We don't just tell you what's wrong with your roof. We record our inspections and show you. No lemons. We install premium roofing materials from top brands like Owens Corning. No shortcuts. We're in the 2% of roofers with the Owens Corning Preferred Contractor Certificate for our local area. This means we offer precision installation and the longest warranties. Want a beautiful new roof that's built to last? Choose Trustmark Roofing, the roofer that loves to tell our customers no. For a free estimate, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Sometimes when you hit the road hits back. That's why MTA Mechanics and Tire carries major brands like Bridgestone, Cooper, and Michelin. Not only do you get top brand tires, but you also get a nationwide warranty. So wherever you are, MTA Mechanics and Tire has you covered. Stop by or let MTA come to you with their MTA Mobile Tire Shop, covering Roswell, Carlsbad, and Artesia. They can come to your home, office, or even the airport. And alignment is included on all sets of 4 tires. MTA Mechanics and Tires, getting you back on the road.
Hugh Hewitt is now in Roswell on 106.5 KEND Roswell.
Reading on inflation, the Consumer Price Index confirms what most of us already knew, that prices continue rising at a breakneck pace, although inflation did cool just a little bit last month.
The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reports today the gasoline index fell 7.7% in July. That offset increases in the food and shelter indexes. Over the past 12 months, the all items index increased 8.5% before seasonal adjustments. The index for all items, less food and energy, rose 0.3% in July, a smaller increase than in April, May, or June. Bob Agnew reporting.
No transparency from the Justice Department or the FBI concerning the raid on former President Trump's Florida home. Correspondent Eric Tucker says Republicans are demanding answers.
We talked to Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas.
When all this went down in Mar-a-Lago, my phone blew up. Friends and family members asked me, what in the world is going on? Why is the law not being applied equally? You know, friends texted me things like, is the FBI turning to the Gestapo?
That sentiment that we heard expressed from Senator Marshall is a very common reaction that we have been hearing from Republican lawmakers and allies of former President Trump.
The Trump-backed candidate has won Wisconsin's Republican gubernatorial primary. Tim Michaels saying that he is committed to
standing up for the hardworking people of Wisconsin. They've been left behind by the Democratic Party that just wants to focus on the social issues. From my first day in office to my very last day as governor, jobs and the economy are going to be my #1 priority.
The audio courtesy of WKOW-TV. Watching Wall Street, stocks sharply higher. Right now, the Dow is up 503 points for a gain of 1.5%. The Nasdaq ahead 259, the S&P 68 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If you were lied to when buying a timeshare and want out, you need my help. Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started the timeshare cancellation industry by exposing the ugly truth about timeshare and giving folks the straight facts. I've been fighting the timeshare giants ever since, so no one knows this industry better than me and my team. Today, we have 383 employees and have saved our clients an average of $65,000 in lifetime payments. Imagine putting those timeshare dollars back in your pocket. If you were told at a timeshare presentation that this was available today and today only, that timeshare was a great investment or your maintenance fees will never go up, call my office now. I guarantee you, if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-881-4242. 800-881-4242. 800-881-4242.
China repeating its threat to use military force to bring self-governing Taiwan under its control amid threatening Chinese military exercises that have raised tensions between the sides to their highest level in years. A statement issued by the Cabinet's Taiwan Affairs Office followed almost a week of missile firings and incursions into Taiwanese waters and airspace by Chinese warships and Air Force planes. The actions have disrupted flights and shipping in a region that's crucial to global supply chains. Japanese Prime Minister Kishida has reshuffled his cabinet, an apparent bid to distance his administration from the Unification Church over its ties to the assassinated leader Shinzo Abe and senior ruling party members. The reshuffle was the second in just 10 months since Kishida took office following the July election victory that had been expected to ensure long-term stability in Japan. Townhall.com. A Southwest Airlines flight attendant suffers a back injury during a hard landing in California.
Federal safety investigators say the jolt was so strong that the flight attendant thought the plane had crashed. The National Transportation Safety Board completed its investigation without saying what caused the hard landing. None of the other 141 people on board were injured in the incident, which happened July 1st at John Wayne Airport in Santa Ana, California. The airport has a relatively short runway. John Scott reporting.
The ambush killings of 4 Muslim men in Albuquerque has shaken the community while also inspiring a flood of information, including a tip that has led to the arrest of a local Muslim man originally from Afghanistan, who authorities say knew the victims. The 51-year-old has been charged with killing 2 of the victims and is named as the prime suspect in the other 2 killings. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The Travelician, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The deuce.
Of a morning without Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Wednesday to you, everybody. Yes, Mike Winters still out. We'll be out for the foreseeable, at least for the rest of this week. Barring any kind of issues, he should be back inside of your radios this time next week. By Monday, he should be back inside your airwaves. Okay, so we're not technically on the air right now. I'm checking as we speak just to make sure. But yeah, we are not on the air as we speak.
Is it still raining?
It is. It's sprinkling right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to your weather forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. But yeah, it is sprinkling. There's a little bit of weather. Yeah, we're not on the air, but I was given the green light to kind of right there. Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Okay. Anyways, so I was given the green light to kind of let everybody know what's happening in the world of Mike Winters. So I figured now that we're not on the air is the best time to do that. Hey, it's always there for online posterity, right? So on Sunday afternoon, now Kim, Mike's wife, had been she's had headaches for a while. She's had migraines. It's been an issue. And she's been taking medication or over-the-counter medication to counteract the migraines. So what we found out on Sunday was that Kim's brain was actually bleeding to the point where it had moved her brain itself to the left side of her head. Like, it was so much blood in her on her brain that it had moved her brain itself. So obviously this is yeah, this is an issue that is intense. This is one of those things that they need to take care of right away. And I think because we're not on Roswell airwaves, I can say it's something that the hospitals here in Roswell can't handle. Okay, I'm sorry, but they can't. That's where medevac comes into play, because Kim was medevaced to El Paso, where and here's a fun story. So she was medevaced to El Paso.
It's always El Paso.
El Paso or Lubbock. It seems like those are the two go-tos. But she was medevaced to El Paso, where they went ahead and nice crack on that one. They went ahead and ran some tests, found out that they definitely needed to act as soon as possible, and drained all the blood from her brain and put in a wound cap. There was a clot on her brain, and from what I understand, it was a pretty big one. So what they did was they removed the clot, they plugged up the wound. They have a wound cath, which is draining the additional blood that was in her head, and barring any complications, she should be discharged by, and also a successful MRI, she should be discharged by Friday, possibly Saturday.
That's good.
So that's good news. But the funny story is, so we also have a coworker, one of our members of our sales department, Chris Whipperman, who is undergoing spinal surgery, like literally at the same time. And we knew this was coming for a while. We've known that Chris was going to do the surgery. Basically, two of the discs in his vertebrae have fused to basically where it's causing parts of his body to just go numb when he turns his head. So this is something they've been wanting to address for a while, but obviously pretty intense spinal surgery, which is going to require, a lot of, recovery, obviously. But the funny story is Chris was on the same floor in El Paso that Kim was.
Really?
The same surgeon that worked on Kim did Chris's procedure.
Oh, no.
It's crazy. Like, Mike found this out like a day ago, or a couple days ago. He was kind of wandering around the hospital, and sure enough, there he was.
In El Paso.
In El Paso. Angela was there, and he saw Angela, and Angela went and hung out with Kim, and he saw Chris, and so it was just kind of a crazy thing that they're together.
Now, is that just where like all the best doctors are like assigned to go or something?
It just usually bigger cities are like gifted with better surgeons, better doctors.
Yeah.
I've heard.
Or is it just one guy who does the?
It's just one dude
in the whole state.
It might be. It could very well be. I mean, obviously this dude did Kim and Chris, at the same time. So maybe this dude's just like a champion surgeon. But it's been my experience that if you go to the bigger cities, their hospitals, their doctors seem to, I don't know, give a damn, for lack of a better term. I mean. So I've heard, and I'm not gonna talk out of turn, but I've heard several horror stories from right here, like from Roswell. That like they send people off to other doctors, and doctors are like, what was going on there? Why did they just give you a pill? Like, why did they just give you an ibuprofen? Again, I'm not talking out of turn, and we're not on the air right now, so. Okay, if you want to go back and see this, ksvptv.com. But there you go. Yeah. So, the update is, as of right now, everything is going according to plan. Kim is recovering, and she's coherent. Chris also is recovering smoothly. He should be doing some PT, but barring that, he'll be with us probably the next couple of months. But Kim, hopefully, discharged by this weekend. And Mixmaster Mike, hopefully back inside your radios this time next week.
Yeah, it's weird seeing the blood clot thing. Isn't that usually like doesn't clot usually stop the bleeding, not cause the bleeding?
Right, but when the major issue is that a clot can move. And if a clot moves, usually to the brain, that can cause any number of issues, from strokes to seizures to...
Right. I'm no medical expert.
But. Right. And I'm not either. But I just know that clots are... Honestly, because I spent most of my life as a morbidly obese man, clots are terrifying to me, because I always heard about people like, getting clots in their legs that moved up to their heart and they had strokes or whatever. So clots are one of those things that's like, it's terrifying to me. But in the hands of an expert surgeon, everything is great, everything's fine, and Kim is recovering. But it's honestly just a testament to modern medicine, because 20, 30 years ago, something like this would have been, a death sentence, or, they would have been giving percentages out. At this point, nowadays, it's basically just standard procedure. I mean,
I'm surprised how well they're handling it.
One of the things that I don't know if it like shocked me or what, but when I was undergoing complex dental surgery, like they just put me under anesthesia. I was going out, like I was in the process of fading out before like an intense surgery on my mouth.
Yeah.
And the doctor, Dr. Keon, and the dental assistants started talking about their weekend plans.
Oh no.
No, it was crazy, because I was hearing this. I'm like, are you guys talking about your weekend right now? Like, I get that, because it's like it puts your mind at ease. It's kind of like with what I do for a living, with morning radio. Everybody says, oh, it's terrifying. It's, I'm getting on, I'm talking in front of people. You kind of have to do that thing where it's like, it's no big deal. I just do this thing. I just come in and I talk, and if I mess up, I mess up. So you kind of have to kind of put it on the back burner a little bit. And I feel like that's what surgeons have to do. Like, in order to kind of calm nerves before, especially complex procedures. Have you ever played the game Operation?
Yeah.
I suck at the game Operation. Like, I am terrible at Operation.
Right.
And I can't even imagine.
You got the shaky hands?
Oh, yeah. Hardcore. Like, I have to have my hands sitting on something, or else if I'm like lifted, I will start shaking. So I'm terrible at the game Operation. I can only imagine what a surgeon goes through with knowing that 1 millimeter to either direction could end someone's life. That's terrifying. So you kind of have to put what you're doing on the back burner in order to let your brain process what you're actually doing. That makes a lot of sense.
The beginning to Doctor Strange kind of invokes that same energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen that one?
I haven't. No? I'm behind on my Marvels. I need to see Strange and Multiverse.
Like, it shows how good of a neurosurgeon he was before, he had to change and do all his... I won't spoil it,
but yeah, basically it's you have to have a steady hand. In order to have a steady hand, you have to kind of put your brain on the back burner. You can't be thinking about what you're going to do for dinner, but at the same time, you also kind of have to be like, hey, what are your weekend plans? And this is just standard procedure. We're rambling 16 minutes after 8 o'clock. We have a guest this hour coming up here in just a few minutes, if he chooses to stay, because I'm going to give him an option. Because we're not technically on the radio right now. We have Roswell Independent School District Superintendent Mr. Brian Luck joining us in studio here in just a few minutes, chit-chatting about the kickstart to the 2022-2023 school year and all of the fun and festivities that go along with it. We'll dive into that coming up here in just a few minutes. 16 minutes after 8 o'clock. Let's take a quick pause and get you up to date on that weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have low pressure over southern New Mexico and that moist air from the monsoon moving a little bit into our area today. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, partly cloudy, and our afternoon high in the low 90s. Pretty good chance of rain and thunderstorms for the overnight hours. Will drop into the upper 60s. Sunshine to start the day on Thursday, and then scattered late-day thunderstorms are high near 90. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 72 degrees around Roswell Way. Humidity at 79%. Overcast skies. Look up and you can see it. Reach your hand out and you can probably feel it. It's been sprinkling out there around Roswell Way. Winds out of the northeast at around 9 miles an hour with a dew point of about 65 degrees. Looking for isolated showers and thunderstorms before 9 a.m., then scattered showers and thunderstorms after noon. Some of those storms could produce heavy rains. Partly cloudy. Partly sunny, high of 91, winds out of the southeast 5 to 10, and they're calling for a 20 to 50% chance of rain, and they're saying less than 1/10 of an inch of precipitation should be expected, except higher amounts possible with thunderstorms. Again, this is their words, not mine. Same thing for tonight. Continued 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms, 70 for the overnight low, and those thunderstorms could produce heavy rains throughout the evening. For Thursday, scattered showers, thunderstorms, only about 40% chance of rain. Otherwise, mix of clouds and sun, high of around 92 degrees. For Thursday, a 20% chance of the wet stuff, partly cloudy, getting down to about 69 for the overnight low. 20% chance of rain on Friday, mostly sunny and 94 for the high. And then we head into the weekend. Saturday, we're looking at mostly sunny, a high of around 94, 96 for the high on Sunday, 97 for Monday, and back up to 98 with mostly sunny skies on Tuesday. Looks like the rain is just going to hit us for this week. It's taking the weekend off, and then we're back to the sunshine and all that good stuff. 19 minutes after 8 o'clock. Going to pause, pay a couple of these bills, and after these, I believe we'll be joined in studio by Mr. Brian Luck, superintendent for Roswell Independent School District, on a morning without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
Martine's Capital Cafe in Roswell offers authentic and highly rated New Mexico food. Explore their amazing menu featuring huevos rancheros or asado with eggs or their green chili stew. And you can't forget their award-winning green chili cheeseburger, all made from scratch using their finest and freshest ingredients. Open for carryout with curbside delivery or limited dine-in. Just call ahead 624-2111. Martine's Capital Cafe, always pleasing the most refined palate. Open Monday through Saturday from 6 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. at 110 West 4th in Roswell. Good morning. Start your day with breakfast from the Valley Cafe. Try the Breckwich, full or half, with sausage, crispy bacon, fluffy eggs, pepper jack cheese, and maple Dijon spread, all served on a toasted sourdough. Or their breakfast burritos with your choice of sausage, bacon, or both, perfect to grab and go. You aren't dreaming. The Valley Cafe, open 7 a.m. The Orange Building across from Church on the Move, 801 Brasher in Roswell.
Make your home a smart home with Smart Home Wi-Fi from Plateau. Now you can connect more devices to fast, reliable Wi-Fi throughout your home. That means faster speeds with no downtime or lag. Enhance your connection, expand your reach, and experience whole home device control and protection with Plateau. Plateau offers true fiber with options starting as low as $60 a month, all with no caps and no hidden fees. Call today, 575-755-1000, or stop by 1001 South Main in Roswell. Get Smart Home Wi-Fi today from Plateau. Tried, true, trusted.
Bob Reed Pest Control protects you and your home by controlling pests that invade. Bob Reed Pest Control understands the importance of safety in and around your home from unwanted pests. Protect your family's most important investment, your home, and protect your children and pets from the dangers of poisonous bugs and insects. Call Bob Reed Pest Control today and let our fully licensed pest control professionals start working for you and your family. Find us fast in names and numbers. Call 623-5344, serving all of Southeast New Mexico.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. China has more English speakers than the United States. They have more Chinese speakers, too. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 21 minutes after 8 o'clock on your Wednesday morning. Joining us in studio this morning, Mr. Brian Luck, RSD Superintendent. How are you doing this morning?
Doing well. Good morning. Thank you for having me today.
Boy, howdy. It's a crazy morning. We are not on the air technically, but we are still online, ksbptv.com, of course, through Facebook and our YouTube page. And we'll have this interview up on all of our social media a la carte after this as well, so you can feel free to share. So you're heading into the fire. 2022-2023 season kickstarting as of Thursday of last week.
Yes, sir.
It's all underway. I mean, everybody's going back, and
yes.
So far so good?
You know what? Yes, very good. Knock on wood. We've had probably one of the best, being as this is my second year.
Sure.
And you know, most everything would be better from what we had last year to start off with. We've had a really good start. We've been out in all the buildings. We've heard from a lot of teachers, a lot of parents that, you know, this just felt right. That if there was ever such a thing of back to sort of normal, this one kind of hit it for us.
It did. You know, and the funny thing is, I've heard from a lot of parents. They said that it feels like we're starting early this year. But the funny thing is, Facebook made liars out of all of us, because I was looking at our memories, and the exact same day we sent our kids back to school last year, we were getting Facebook memory posts from the same thing from last year. So it was the exact same day.
The the good old days, and they're not that old, of waiting until mid-August to start. We haven't done that in quite a while,
right?
And I think we have just sort of shifted back, a day or two here and there over the last 10, 15 years, and we're traditionally somewhere around the first week of August. That's when we've been starting. I know you've got other schools in the area that are going back tomorrow. I know I think Artesia goes back tomorrow,
right?
But I know here we've been going back in this week multiple times. So feel pretty confident with that. The state did ask for some extended days from us. They didn't mandate it, but they did ask, and we obliged, and it actually worked out into a calendar that had already been posted. It was a 3-year calendar that was adopted, and it was posted, and it's been online for a while now.
Now, this is the first. You said this is your second year officially as under the title of superintendent. So this is technically your first year where we're, as like you mentioned, as close to back to normal as we possibly could be. I mean, given the circumstances.
Well, we'd like to keep it that way too.
Sure.
When I came in, we were still dealing with pretty much heavy duty COVID stuff. Mr. Gottlieb had done a phenomenal job. The admin team there at the district, the teachers, everybody had done such a great job navigating just situations that we really didn't know anything about. We get to the beginning of last year, and we're talking about having kids in school with masks and contact tracing and doing smaller lunch sizes and kids eating in the classroom.
Oh, I'm a dad. I know.
And
I remember what it was like.
It has been very refreshing this year, just actually talking about school stuff. How do we get people back on track? And it is my first run at what a normal year kind of looks like, and it's been very nice. I will say that we're dealing with actual school issues is very nice.
The funny thing, during like the height of the pandemic, where everybody was doing remote schooling, my daughter. So I have 2 kids. My daughter's the only one as of like during the pandemic was of school age, and for the most part, she was in school. Like she actually went to school. She's on the spectrum. So she goes to Del Norte, and she's a part of a program. So she was one of the only students for a quick minute, like one of like 17 students at Del Norte that were allowed access to the school and allowed a school day. So it was all, I didn't experience the pandemic school era like most parents did. Like, because I still sent my kid off to school. The bus came out and picked her up, took her to school. So I didn't experience the pandemic era quite like the average parent did. That being said, it's still been just a monumental task. I can't imagine what it's like for the average school parent to have to shoulder on, remote learning and keeping Chromebooks not broken.
Right.
Like I have an angry kid, but keeping Chromebooks not broken throughout the entire pandemic, it was just so much to shoulder. It was so much to take on.
It was. Had we been in any type of a different community, I don't think we'd get even the results that we got. Our community rallied around. There were a lot of other districts that didn't have the support that we did, and that is back due to our parents, and they bought in. They jumped on board. We had businesses that allowed people to stay home. You had flex schedules going out for employees. I mean, it was literally, and Mike and I have talked about that a bunch, just a total team community effort. And that was my big hope this year, was that we could all reap the reward of what, the ebb and flow. And I've talked about that multiple times on the show of it's time to go back to school. And, your parents don't have to worry about the kids being home over the summer, and everybody can kind of just, you turn that dial and you shift into fall mode, and kids are in school, and you've got a couple holidays and some breaks that come in there, but it allows everybody to get back to their routine.
That's the most, I think that the back to school is the most back to normal feeling that we've had the ability to have. Like sending the kids off to school, parents getting back to day drinking like it should be. It's the way it's back sort of semi back to normal. Now I got to ask, what's so obviously the school board coping with all this too. What's the temperature of the school board been? How have things been there?
Tell you, they supportive, totally supportive across the board. They recognize the job that they have. I mean, and it is it is a huge, they volunteered for that, and it's a monumental task of doing things to help kids, and that's not easy. I mean, you're making friends nowhere,
right? You got to make the tough decisions,
and you've got some tough decisions that you have to make, and they've done a great job with that. They've been very supportive. They have allowed us to wander into some areas that I don't necessarily want to say mistakes, but areas that we quickly retrieved from. We tried some things over the course of last year to try to help out with some timing for our teachers. Sure. Gave me a little bit of flexibility, but then also we're glad whenever they saw that we changed to go back to some other things. So I feel really, really blessed to have the group that I've got. We did grab 2 new members at January, and they've dove right in and have been, making impacts and getting involved and getting informed. So very, very blessed to have the group we've got.
And that's intimidating to be the new kid on the block. To jump into a group that already kind of has their bearings and find yours. It's a lot to deal with. So props to the new members of the school board. So. Let's talk about the school board meeting.
You bet.
Absolutely. How did things go?
We did good. We had it got a little lengthy. We had some pretty good discussion in a couple areas. Conducted some general business. We welcomed our new principals and assistant principals and had quite a good group up there. I mean, we have, and I'm remiss I didn't bring my group here with me today, but did get the opportunity to hire about 4 or 5 new principals.
Awesome.
About the same number of assistant principals, and got a chance to put a name and a face. My board had been hearing names or reading names in text messages about welcome aboard, and actually they got a chance to put a name to a face.
I was part of a board of directors for a quick minute, and one of the things during the pandemic era is we had our meetings via Zoom. Like, I was a part of this board for about 6 to 7 months before I actually met in person half of the members of the board. And I know it was probably the same for you guys. You guys were carrying on conducting meetings mostly via Zoom. Eventually, in-person meetings started back, I'm sure.
Yes.
But so it's a change of pace kind of thing. But yeah, finally get a chance to put a name to a face is definitely an awesome thing.
Absolutely, sure. And a lot with the new. Some of those had bumped up from assistant principals as well, and or moved from an assistant principal or teacher at this school to a different school. So getting an opportunity for a reset, and now I'm going to equate that person with this building. Just gave them an opportunity to do that, and
Sure.
and that was pretty nice. Then conducted just some business. Went through our, approved some of our bills. Did all of that kind of. General stuff, and then went in and had some action items. Got our Roswell High School choir is going to go hopefully to Orlando, Florida.
Nice.
So anytime a group wants to go out of state, they have to have board approval. So
Sure.
even if that's just to Lubbock or to El Paso, anytime they cross the state line, we ask for board approval. And something like the trip that they're looking at right there is going to have a lot of moving parts, a lot of fundraising, and I know that they need to. They need to get that going. We did have the Charlie's Angels dance team came in as well. Had a little bit of confusion as to what they were going to do. Were they just general comments, or did they actually want an action item?
The multiple championship.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
yes.
the multi-time champion Charlie's Angels dance team. I feel like that needs to be stated.
I tell you what.
They're phenomenal. They are so good.
A side note to that. So at graduation last year, I was given the opportunity, like all the rest of the superintendents. I mean, I was at all of them, and I got to shake the kids' hands as they came across the stage, and it was incredible. The number of young ladies that were coming across, and that they had multiple state championship rings on, and it was. I mean, it never ceased to amaze me that when they would come across, and I'd look down and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to fist bump you. I think I'll just shake your hand.
Yeah, you'd get carpal tunnel by the end of that.
I think you're going to hurt me if I try to fist bump you, but no. Miss Castro does such a great job with that group.
Absolutely.
And I have no doubt that we'll get that approved for them and get them on down the road so that they can do their fundraising for their trip. And I believe it's in Florida as well. But just some work on that. A couple of the things that sort of jumped out at people. When I came on board, there wasn't really a standardized evaluation tool for me. So I commend the board. They have taken the time. They've done their research. They've consulted with other districts, and they've got an actual tool. So it's a document, and what it is it's going to give me an opportunity to strive to meet their expectations. So it's not anything up in the air. It's not this goal that nobody knows that I'm reaching for, or only a couple of our, myself or a couple of them. It's very standard. It's very genuine, and they approved that last night, so that we can continue with that.
I respect the fact that you put in place like almost a fail-safe for yourself, that there wasn't a system of checks and balances for the superintendent himself, him or herself, and that you established that now. I respect it, but at the same time, you sort of like gave yourself like the plank to walk off of, so to speak.
And I don't look at it like that. I mean, it would be easy. It would be easy to do. I'd rather know the game that I'm going for. I think and that's one thing that this board has done a really good job with, is clear-cut expectations. But given that it's written down, where I have the opportunity to say, okay, there's no question about this. And the neat thing about it is the goals really do align with the community. So, I mean, this isn't something that was generated by a firm in another place. It's local. So.
I chuckle because the phrase "the times they are a-changing," so to speak. When I was in school, and I'm speaking out of school here, but when I was in school, and this wasn't my superintendent, but my principal, I'm not going to say his name, but he was a known problem drinker in the community, like a known issue. Like, it's just nice to see that the school system itself is kind of like holding itself, to task.
Yes, and again, I think that starts with the board. I mean, we had a couple presentations last night when we were talking about some of our data. We had some PSAT and some SAT scores, and we presented the numbers, and they were what they were, and we're going to be very transparent. And again, I think that comes back to our board leadership. The 5 individuals that are up there, they have nothing to hide. I mean, things may not be good. But we're not gonna try to hide from them because they don't look good.
Right.
Our goal is to try to fix those things. So, yes, the times are a little different, and I think you're. Now,
granted, I went to school 20 years ago. Like I graduated in 2002, so it was in a completely different era.
I saw a presentation one time, and I can't remember what the difference was, or what even then the presentation probably 10 years ago, give or take now, and it was like the technology that has not been invented today is obsolete in a year or two.
Yeah,
and I think that has just shot even faster than that where we are now. I mean, we were talking about a long range strategic plan, and the lady that was doing the plan said, when we were looking at different things or renovating or remodeling or whatever, she says, okay, now keep in mind, the people that will inherit that building are this year's kindergartners. And that really resonated home. I was just like, oh my gosh, that's, 12 years from now, 11 years from now, depending on how you look at it. And how things will be different in 11 years. And so when you're having to plan and you're having to adjust for those things, that's tough.
It is.
That's tough. And it takes special people to think that far in advance.
And learning itself has changed. I mean, I come from an era where the going phrase was TV's going to rot your brain. My daughter literally learned how to read from seeing like YouTube, Facebook logos and associating the letters from the logos with things that people were saying. And she learned how to read from that. And she's now reading a grade level above her own grade. Like it blows my mind to think how learning has changed, how it's advanced to this, like we're utilizing technology in a way that excites me. I'm genuinely excited about it. It's we're using it to actually feed brains for a change.
One of our trainers that came has been to Roswell several times made a comment one time. She said, well, if you can YouTube it, why are you teaching it? And at first I was just like, well, I don't need YouTube to teach. And the more, and again, that's been 2 years ago that I heard her say that, 2-3 years ago. But we are teaching such a different child than even 5 years ago. And with the evolution of technology, and you throw a wonky year and a half of going home and actually requesting that they utilize that. And it has made us rethink some things when we come back into the classroom of, how this is your perfect opportunity to do something different. Sure. You have the green light. There's no punishment for trying something different here.
It's not sitting a kid in front of a TV or a tablet. It's literally utilizing what they're saying and then incorporating it into your teaching. I think it gives teachers just a great leg up.
Well, and I've actually seen a couple classrooms that were basically like flipped in reverse, and we've had one of the teachers that I watched came in and put on a video of her teaching. It was her teaching, and she was giving the lesson on her Promethean board, so it's a video, and she's actually walking around the room answering questions as the kids are taking notes off of her lesson.
Wow.
I had another lady that's what you do at night. Your homework is to watch the lesson. And then when you get to class the next day, that is where you get the chance to ask the questions. So it's a flipped version. So as far as, there should not be any excuse for not having your work turned in, and I don't know what the percentage is, but a large percentage of your zeros at the high schools and mid schools is kids not doing their homework.
Sure.
And if you eliminate that as an excuse, it does change the game a little bit when it comes to that. And it's tough because some of the parents, they're old school and they're just, well, what do you mean you don't have any homework? You haven't had homework in math or English, science. What's wrong with you? I always had homework whenever we did that, and it's a different
it
philosophy.
Stressed us out. I mean, you remember we had piles of it. We'd get done with school, we'd go home, and we had more school. It was just so stressful. So it's nice to know that we found a good, work-life balance, so to speak, for kids, and it's just nice to see.
You mentioned work. Society's changed too. We've got several of our kids, and we really found this a lot in COVID because of the way this job shut down and this one didn't shut down. Several of our kids were the breadwinners. And so whenever you would say, why are you working so late? Well, my mom or my dad's job, they furloughed them. They laid them off for 2 weeks. And my job that seemed fairly menial the other day has now become the primary reason. And that's not easy to turn off.
No.
And, and our businesses in town count on great kids that will show up, be on time, do what's asked of them. And you don't want to, be a detriment for that relationship for them. But it also has created, some thought process of, well, maybe we want to look at a different type of a schedule for some of these kids.
Sure. I've heard a lot of schools around the country toying with the idea of a later start time for school, starting at like a 10 a.m. to like a later day start, basically.
Some of those ideas have kicked in. Our instruction office last year, under the direction of Mrs. Cole, she's done a great job. They put the team together, and the title of what they were looking was a high school redesign, and a lot of those things came up. Some of those are some really big pushes.
Sure.
And we're just maybe not quite ready for some of that. Now, it would be interesting, your first year in college and you didn't have a morning class,
right?
Ever. It was a shift and it was a change. Or you tried a night class and that really might not have been the best thing for you to do was a night class. So, everything's on the table.
Sure.
And I think our biggest deal is to remember that we're trying to get the kids across the finish line.
That's it.
And again, whatever we've got to do to get them there.
Sure, we're just trying to get kids to walk across the stage at the end of the day. That's the ultimate goal.
Yes,
but also with a little bit of knowledge, going into that.
Well, and we've had a really good relationship with the local business community, Mike Espiritu, Bud Kunkel, the groups that have come in and just said, hey, look, we don't necessarily need you to teach the kids how to do this, and this. But we sure do need the kids to be wanting to be, and that can have some really soft skills. And could we get to them maybe before they graduate so that we could try to get them to stick around? Because what we found is a lot of them they're going to do that anyway. and it's of no fault of anything. You know, you always have these really high aspirations whenever you're young. Everybody's going to move away, and they're all going to go do these great things. And you know, the plain hard fact of it is that doesn't always happen.
It's true.
So that's another one of our goals, is that we're putting out a product that's going to be good for Roswell.
Mm-hmm. And I you know, that's another thing that a lot of people have talked about as far as like school is what should be taught in school. Should it be, you know, reading, writing, arithmetic like it used to be? You know, do we really need cursive? And there's a whole argument with that. I feel like a lot of what high school should be focusing on is specific life skills, especially in the junior and senior year of high school. Like, I feel like that I had one semester of economics.
Mm-hmm.
I really wished I'd have had a lot more, you know, like I really wished I'd have had just a little more economic knowledge.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because you just brought up something that was, I would bet you, and I don't know because we didn't plan this ahead of time, you probably had a pretty good economics teacher.
He was great,
and that if you go back in your history, the classes that you enjoyed the most might not have been the ones that you would have thought so, but that you had a really good educator / operator in front of you. And, you know, you take that back, and that's one of our goals, is to make sure that we've got highly qualified in our rooms, that, you know, we have subs. We do.
Sure.
We are no different than any other employer in the nation right now. We have some shortages, but that we try to minimize that as much as possible, and that, you know, hopefully we can find it.
Man. Life happens sometimes, you know. It's like case in point, you know, Mike's been out this week because of situations with Kim. I mean, life happens sometimes. You have to have subs, and you guys have a great set of substitute teachers. Actually, one of my close personal friends is a sub, and I know the process that you have to go through to become a sub. It's not easy.
No,
it's definitely there's a lot to it. So it's you know, it's good to know that you guys are putting top people in position.
Well, and we interviewed we trained a monstrous number. I think it was like 300 and something subs in the last month. It's been incredible. And, you know, you say that number and then you say, but we're still short because of what you just said. Right. You know, life things do happen, and you know, we always preach, you know, your family's first, and, you know, the district will still function. We're still going to run. But you know, our hope is that our teachers feel supported, that they can do things, that if things come up, that they know somebody's got their back, either that be somebody at the building, you know, that they're going to get a quality, you know, person that's going to come in and take care of their kids. Might not teach them the way they, you know, I don't expect somebody to walk in and you know, never miss a beat with the lesson that you had planned,
right?
But that they take care of them, that the kids are safe, and that they're, you know, in a good spot, ready whenever that teacher gets back.
Sure. I've said this a number of times, but I see parents, and I understand the need to go to bat for your kids, but I see parents in this almost combative state with their teachers and with their kids' team. And I say team because my kid, you know, again, she's on the spectrum, but she has, you know, with her IEPs and stuff, there's a whole team of people that I sit down and talk to and get updated by. And I trust my daughter's team to the end of the earth. They have done a phenomenal job putting her where she needs to be. And,
you know, one that makes me feel good. I don't always hear positive stories, but I do think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Sure. If you can start with your plan, the school year starts. I was told it would be on this day. It's on this day. The things that I have been told have come true. The lunch is going to be at this time. The pickup and drop off works like this. The more things we can stack to show our parents that we've got things together, hopefully some of that goes away. Society right now is pretty mad.
Yeah.
And I mean, you take school out of the equation. I mean, there's if you're standing in a line anywhere, you're taking your life in your own hands sometimes, just because somebody's going to have an issue with what's happening. They're having to wait. It didn't work right. The cash register is broke.
Sure.
They got poor service. And, you know, our hope is that we can be one of the few constants to show that we've got our act together. If we tell you this, it's going to be this, and then we go from there.
I know we've gone like wholly off the rails on this conversation, but
no different than with mine.
But this is another thing that I mean, how as a school administrator, how do you deal with living in a time when there's a shooting every other day? I mean, I know there's really no way to answer this question, but like we're in an unreal world. It just seems like you guys are handed a daunting task of trying to form a school system around chaos.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yes is the C. 42. 42 is the answer to everything, by the way.
No, I'll write that one down. You know, I don't want to say that it's not any different than when it was years ago, because
Right.
it is. I think you'd be remiss to say that it's not.
Sure.
I do think that the levels have changed a bunch. There has always been things that could cause schools to go off the rails. The one for us is we feel very confident that we have parent support. So like we lock our doors.
Yes.
So our front
That
doors
is key.
Our front doors of the building are locked, and they don't all have the little doorbell cameras yet. They're on order.
Sure.
So we rely very heavily on our parents that, yes, I'm sorry you're late. I'm sorry, you didn't get out of work quite the time you thought, and in the doctor's office. And we're going to rely heavily on the doctor's offices of, hey, if they're late, cut them some slack.
Hey, we're back on the air. I just checked. We're technically on the air. We're low level, but we're on the air.
Awesome.
So that's cool. So we're broadcasting.
There you go.
I was just curious, so I thought I'd check.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, but no, I mean, and we've dealt with that on a years ago with what happened at Berindo. I mean, it's hit close to home, so we know that's a thing that can happen. But I think that you tapped on something that is absolutely key, and I pointed this out shortly after Uvalde. Every school in Roswell, every single school is locked down tight. It's impossible to get into that school without at least checking in with someone.
Right.
And that's key.
So the irony to the Uvalde deal, I mean, and I don't mean that disrespectfully.
Sure.
About it. Actually, as it turns out, and it could have even been when it was going on, I was in a meeting with our district supervisor, security liaison person, LJ Harold, and we were having a pretty good argument about should the front doors be locked? Should they not be locked? COVID is over, because unfortunately that was one of the things that was the reason the doors were locked at the front was COVID. And we were getting a little bit of backlash as far as COVID's over, you need to open your buildings up. And we had just made the decision, we're going to lock them. And that news literally starts breaking as we're finishing up that meeting. But again, it's people in our community realizing that we are doing that not to make your day worse.
Right.
And that, there's something happening to your student could make it a whole lot worse.
I'll take a minor inconvenience any day of the week, knowing that my daughter is safe.
Well, that's our plan. And then, too, we and Mike and I have touched base a little bit about this is, we have some plans in place that we're not really out in the public with, just because we don't want that out in the public.
It doesn't need to be.
Our crew, our teams, our teachers have been put through training. They're going to continue to go through training. We're going to continue to try to adapt. And just try to make sure that we're not somebody that's on the next list. We did have that, and as a principal at Goddard, I got to live 7 years of that because I had those kids for the next 7 years. And the night that we graduated the last group, it was a big deal for me because we could actually have a fire drill without thinking, okay, what is this fixing to do to somebody? Are they going to have flashbacks? We could. It was just different. And, I did get out there that day to help with the evacuation, and that's something that stuck with me. So
that's awesome. But yeah, I genuinely, I appreciate everything the school board and you as superintendent are doing to ensure that the most normal school year possible can happen.
Boy, that'd be nice.
The most boring school year ever. That's what we're hoping for.
Amen.
Let's just make it a boring year. We're going a little long. So folks, if parents have any questions,
sure, give us a call.
Want to reach out to you, how do they get a hold of you?
District office, 575-627, and we'll go general switchboard, 2500.
627-2500, and they'll get you to the department that you need to be in.
That's exactly right. And again, we're up and running. We've got lots going on right now. You got lots of trying to figure this out, trying to figure that out. Be patient in the school zones.
Yeah. Please slow down.
Yes, and we've had a couple of.
I'm a delivery driver. I understand you're in a rush. Please slow down.
Well,
okay?
a couple of our lights, and it's I get tickled. If you're from here and you live in a neighborhood, you know where the school zone is, and you know the time of day that kids are out.
Right.
And if the lights are not on, you still know the kids are out. I would hate to have to have somebody try to explain. Well, the lights weren't on.
To my knowledge, there's no lights at Roswell High. But there's still a posted school
There's
zone.
some posted, yes.
So,
there's posted.
so you just know.
Right. Yeah. And the one I'm thinking of, we've got a little bit of an issue with the one out by Barindo Elementary School.
Oh, yeah, because of Walmart.
And I don't, but it hadn't been functioning. It was on this morning at 5:30. So I'm hoping that maybe they got that one fixed. But just give us a little patience. We've got new people helping with our pickup and our drop off. Like I said, just give it a couple minutes, give it a couple days. It'll all start to work out.
Folks, just remember, if you see a sign, you're going to pay double. Okay?
Oh, buddy, yes.
So slow down. That's all we're saying.
Yep.
And be aware. All right. Sir, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it. I know it's very valuable. And luckily, half of this interview went out over the airwaves.
I love it. Glad we did it.
And the rest of it will be available on all of our social media moving forward. But thank you so much for your time. We appreciate having you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, sir. 6 minutes away from 9 o'clock. Let's get you up to date with that local news.
Now your Pecos Valley news update. I'm Jared Cirillo. The Eddy County Health Council is looking for new members. The council's goal is to identify and address health needs in Eddy County, according to Sarah Bowman, the interim coordinator of the council. New Mexico Community Health Councils play key roles in the state's public health system, mobilizing communities, identifying local health needs, and planning and coordinating solutions to access those needs. And a local man and his girlfriend are now arrested for burglarizing several businesses in a 3-week period during June and July in Roswell. The pair targeted 2 vehicle repair shops and a hair salon, stealing more than $20,000 worth of various items. Jesse Miller and Angela Paz are implicated in the case, according to a statement from Roswell Police. The burglaries occurred beginning June 23rd at MTA Mechanics and Tires in the 600 block of South Main Street, then on July 12th at United Auto Repair on East Albuquerque Street, and the July 13th, the Heron Company business at 200 West 3rd. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. 47.2% of all statistics are made up on the spot. Is this true? I'd say chances are about 50%. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. Let's get you up to date with that local weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have low pressure over southern New Mexico and that moist air from the monsoon moving a little bit into our area today. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, partly cloudy, and our afternoon high in the low 90s. Pretty good chance of rain and thunderstorms for the overnight hours. Will drop into the upper 60s. Sunshine to start the day on Thursday, and then scattered late-day thunderstorms are high near 90. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. President Biden on Tuesday signed a $280 billion bipartisan bill to boost domestic high-tech manufacturing, part of his administration's push to boost U.S. competitiveness over China. The legislation is a core part of his economic agenda that will incentivize investments in the American semiconductor industry in an effort to ease U.S. reliance on overseas supply chains for critical cutting-edge goods. The experts are saying inflation is expected to remain painfully high, and even as gasoline prices fall, inflation in services such as health care, rents, and restaurant meals is accelerating. Inflation is taking a toll on Mexico. Many Mexican families are feeling the pinch. The Mexican government raised the country's minimum wage by 22%, but much of that increase has now been consumed by inflation. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Jennifer from Trustmark Roofing here, and I can tell you it's not always easy being a female in a male-dominated business like roofing. I remember one time I was at a meeting to bid on the roof for a local college, and it was me and 13 men. Well, I won that bid, and I'd like to win your business too. My dad was a contractor, and I've been around building and roofing my whole life. I'm licensed and bonded, and I've forgotten more about roofing than most roofers ever knew in the first place. But what really sets Trustmark apart is an obsessive attention to detail that ensures that everything goes smoothly the first time. I promise we will treat you right with respect and we will make you happy. So yeah, it might be a bit odd for a woman to own a roofing company, but give us a try. Let us give you an estimate for your roof. I think you'll be glad you called. For all your roofing needs, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Is there anything worse than waking up tired from a sleepless night and walking outside to that 100-degree weather? That burst of heat just makes you feel even more tired. Hi, I'm Dr. Sarah Usher with Carabelli Dental, and we are the experts in sleep apnea oral appliances. We can help you get the quality sleep you've been missing without that bulky face mask. Wake up refreshed and ready to enjoy those big summer plans. Let us help you sleep better and live better.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental in Roswell or call 622-4455. Sometimes when you hit the road hits back. That's why MTA Mechanics and Tire carries major brands like Bridgestone, Cooper, and Michelin. Not only do you get top brand tires, but you also get a nationwide warranty. So wherever you are, MTA Mechanics and Tire has you covered. Stop by or let MTA come to you with their MTA Mobile Tire Shop, covering Roswell, Carlsbad, and Artesia. They can come to your home, office, or even the airport, and alignment is included on all sets of 4 tires. MTA Mechanics and Tires, getting you back on the road.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Did you know you share your birthday with at least 9 million other people in the world? Your birthday isn't feeling so special now, is it? Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, closing in on 9 o'clock. Coming up next hour, going to replay the interview we had with Miss Amy McVeigh-Tejas and Colonel Jason Garcia from the Historical Society for Southeastern New Mexico, all about their trip down memory lane that is fast approaching. That's next hour on A Morning Without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
On air and online, this is Roswell's home for talk radio, KEND Roswell.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Wall Street's on a roll this morning, given a boost by the latest inflation report. The Consumer Price Index shows prices rose 8.5% in July compared to a year ago. And while that may sound like a lot, it's actually an improvement over June when prices were up 9.1%. Former President Trump having none of it. He is certain that President Biden knew in advance of FBI plans to raid Mr. Trump's Florida home in what some Republicans view as a fishing expedition. The White House, though, insisting it only learned of the raid after the fact.
The president was not briefed, was not aware of it. No one at the White House was given a heads up. No, that did not happen.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, the FBI and the Justice Department have said nothing about the raid, and that has Republicans, including Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas, demanding some answers.
It feels like Lady Justice took her blindfold off. When all this went down in Mar-a-Lago, my phone blew up. Friends and family members asked me what in the world is going on.
GOP Senator Rand Paul calls the unprecedented raid on the home of a former president outrageous, unjust, but predictable. President Biden has signed legislation that focuses on veterans' health.
It's called the PACT Act, and it will enhance health care and disability benefits for millions of veterans exposed to toxic burn pits while serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. The president describes the legislation as significant and says he's looking forward to signing it into law so veterans exposed to burn pits finally get the benefits and comprehensive health care they earned and deserve. Craig Clugston, the White House.
On Wall Street, the Dow is up 510 points, a gain of 1.5%. The Nasdaq ahead 305 points, and the S&P trading 80 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Charlie Dombeck here from Key City Capital. As a practicing CPA for nearly 30 years, I have found that 80% of your ability to grow your wealth is dependent upon 2 factors, taxes and investment performance. At Key City Capital, we improve investment performance by diversifying capital into off-market investment opportunities in passive rental real estate and alternatives like asset-backed lending. We recover dollars that clients unnecessarily pay in the form of income taxes, creating a lifetime annuity of savings. We are a sponsor sponsor of passive, affordable single and multifamily residential rental investments, which are located in Sunbelt landlord-friendly states. These investments are the top choices in a rising interest rate and inflationary environment. They represent a store of value, protecting your capital from market volatility. Learn how we at Key City Capital can help you ultimately grow your wealth rapidly. Connect with me at keycitycapital.com or give me a call at 817-912-1569.
Oil shipments from Russia through a critical pipeline to several European countries should resume soon after a problem over payments for the transit was resolved, according to Slovakia's finance minister. Russian state pipeline operator Transneft says it halted shipments through the southern branch of the pipeline, which flows through Ukraine, to the Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary. Transneft cited complications due to European Union sanctions for its actions on August 4th, saying its payment to the company's Ukrainian counterpart had been refused. Honda's fiscal first quarter profit fell 33% from last year as a global computer chip shortage, a pandemic-related lockdown in China, and rising costs of raw materials hurt the Japanese automaker. Toyota-based Honda reports its profit totaled $1.1 billion in the April through June period, down from $1.7 billion a year earlier. Townhall.com. Billions of dollars pouring into companies changing the recipe for plastic to make it more environmentally friendly.
Plastics are typically made with natural gas or crude oil as its basic carbon building block. Bioplastics plants using renewable materials such as corn, sugar, and cooking oil have been built around the world to produce a more environmentally safe plastic. Some bioplastic can dissolve in water or soil under correct conditions, while other types can be biodegraded in large industrial composters. Market share for bioplastics is expected to nearly triple by 2028. Keith Peters reporting.
Federal prosecutors building their case against two men described as leaders of a 2020 scheme to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, an alleged scheme described as FBI entrapment by the defendant's attorneys. Prosecutors previously failed to get convictions after a jury could not deliver a unanimous verdict last spring. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel and what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Tres invierno.
Ooh, of a morning without Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Wednesday, happy Wednesday, happy halfway day, happy hump day, whatever day it is to you. Hopefully it's happy. There's a lot more pressure on you to deliver that Tres Inviernos now, knowing that you're half Hispanic.
Yeah.
It puts a lot of pressure on you. You got to deliver now.
I feel like I have to do the trill every time.
You gotta trill. You gotta trill. So yes.
Sometimes I do that on purpose.
Yeah.
I try to just fake that I don't have a good Hispanic accent, so people don't expect too much of me.
You don't. Honestly, until you told me, I didn't know. You don't come off as largely Hispanic.
Yeah.
But again, it's something to keep in the back pocket because you never know when you might need, need to break out your brown card.
Right.
It's handy. It is handy.
It's a double-edged sword.
It's funny though, living in New Mexico, going back to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain words that I just naturally go into the accent. When I say tamales, I'll soften the tea, tamales, or enchiladas. So I soften things, when it comes to so I'll go back home and we'll go to Abuelita's, which is my mom's favorite Mexican restaurant in Oklahoma. It's garbage, but it's her favorite Mexican restaurant in Oklahoma. And I go back and I order the green chili enchiladas, and I get this look from my mom like, what just happened? I'm like, you brought me here. You dropped me off here, and then you left. It's your fault that I do this, all right? It's your fault that I have a friend named Claudia, okay? Not Claudia. Her name is Claudia, okay?
Yeah.
It's your fault, Mom. You brought me here.
Yeah, I fake the bad accent. So when people ask me stuff and I say like, oh, tamales or enchiladas or whatever.
Sure.
It's just I look like a white guy.
You do.
I don't want to scare
No
people.
offense, but you do.
Yeah, I don't want to scare people with all of a sudden oh, it's a white guy trying to sound trying to pull off the accent.
No, that's me. That's me, because I'll be talking like this, and then all of a sudden I'll say "Tour de ocho millas." It's like that's me, just a white guy trying to pull off the accent. But you have the card.
Yeah.
Like you're a card carrying citizen, so to speak. So you've got the right, I guess, for lack of a better term. But yeah, no. So utilize that whenever possible. I recommend that.
No, I was born here.
Oh yeah, I didn't assume you were born in like Gomez Palacio or something. But yeah, no, you're half Hispanic, so your mom is full Hispanic and your dad is Caucasian, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know your sister. I was gonna say, now there's no way that he's nothing but pure white.
No,
because I know your sister and she's a white girl.
I think we're Dutch. I'm
Dutch?
We may be a little Irish.
Okay.
I don't know. Everyone wants to be Irish.
You ever done your 23andMe or anything like that?
No.
So my mom's a big genealogy nut, and she, in her spare time, for fun, she's traced our family lineage, and she's traced it back to Chaucer. I'm literally a direct descendant of Chaucer.
Is that a place?
No, Chaucer. He's a playwright. He's a
okay.
playwright, an author, an orator. Basically, he was known for being a great speaker. He was known for
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was known for being a wordsmith, so to speak. So it's kind of ironic. It's like my mom's like that, and so am I. And so in tracing that back, it's like, yeah, we're direct descendants of Chaucer.
So you're the next gen Chaucer.
Yeah, next gen, exactly. Just I'm not as proper, but I'm still good with my mouth words. You know,
you're the flying Chaucer.
That's right, the flying Chaucers. But yeah, you should do your 23andMe. I'd be curious to see how that pans out.
I know my dad said something about his mom or dad, I don't remember, knowing Elvis.
Knowing Elvis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not related to it,
right.
But at least knowing Elvis.
But one time I rode on a bus and Elvis was there. That's cool. That's a pretty cool story. But yeah, I'd be curious to check out my 23andMe just to see what's out there. I'm gonna do that. It's prohibitively expensive.
Oh, is it?
It's like $100. Well, it's like $150, I think, for the full test. And then you spit in a tube and they tell you where you're from. But also, and this is the other thing, they have you on record now, and from what I've gathered, can use your DNA. Your DNA, once you send it to them, is their property.
Oh.
What? That's me. That's me that you own. Nobody can own the me. That's God's me.
See, now I'm imagining a situation like the movie Us, where there's a whole civilization underground of all of it. Have you seen that movie?
I've glanced at.
There's clones of us living underground, and there's one of me and one of you,
right?
And they're out to kill us or something like that.
Every time, this is only just a recent thing, but every time I have a unique thought, I'm like, oh no, I've just created a universe. Because in the multiverse theory, everything that you could possibly think is already a universe where that scenario is playing out.
Right.
In the multiverse theory. So it's every time I have a random thought of I walk out the door, trip on my stairs, fall down and break my neck. Somewhere there's a universe where that just happened. It's
maybe
I need to stop thinking things. That's terrifying to me. In the multiverse theory, it's somewhere there's a broken neck Sean just sitting at the base of the stairs in the trailer park, and because my trailer park is one where our neighbors keep to themselves, nobody's going to notice until I don't pay my rent.
Well, sure.
Or until I loose-necked walk my way over to the office and say, please call an ambulance.
You ever think you made the wrong decision?
Sometimes, yeah.
And
That's a constant thought of mine, actually. I think that's part of the OCD, though.
Yeah.
Is I'm an overthinker, in that I will overthink things before I do something, and then after I do something, will play it back in my head 150 times.
Yeah.
And every single time, roll my eyes and go, "Oh, you idiot!"
Yeah.
Every single time. I'm notorious for that.
Think of the timelines.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple timelines.
I actually had one person tell me, and this was recently, "You are the most awkward person I've ever met in my entire life." I don't know how to take that. But well, let me give you the rundown. 13 minutes after 9 o'clock. We don't have a guest this hour scheduled, so I figured we replay the interview I had earlier this week with Miss Amy McVeigh-Tejas and Colonel Jason Garcia. Don't go anywhere yet. From the Historical Society for Southeastern New Mexico. Big event coming up, the Walk Down Memory Lane, coming up at the end of the month. Still, the deadline has passed to RSVP, but they will still accept your RSVP. I'm going to go ahead and venture out through the end of this week. After that, you're done. So get it in while you can. Now, I want you to stick around because, and that's coming up here in just a few minutes. I had a situation happen to me yesterday. It was one of the saddest moments of my adult life. Now, I vape, okay?
Oh, okay.
I used this to
We're finally admitting it.
I'm finally coming out. I'm coming out of the closet. I'm a vapor. I did this to quit smoking. I was for like a decade, I was a smoker. Now I vape. And here's the thing. When one vapes, you get used to a very specific flavor. Usually you find your flavor and you stick with it. You stick. And I've done that for the last 2 years. I found a flavor, this is 2 years ago, called Vape Belly was the brand. And it was very cherry. And it tasted exactly, and I mean spot on exactly, like the cherry Jelly Bellies.
Oh, okay.
Jelly beans. Spot on. Or kind of like maraschino cherries. Okay, it was spot on. But that company went out of business. So a company called Five Star Juices bought the formula from Vape Belly. And for the last year and a half or so, they have carried this brand Super Cherry. And so I've walked into the place I go to get my vape juice every single time, usually once a month, and I'll say, "Give me the usual," because they know me there. They know exactly what I need. I need a coil and a bottle of Super Cherry. Yesterday I went in to get my usual, and they told me that Super Cherry was sold out, which, okay, could you order more? Like right now? I'll wait. The company went out of business.
Oh, jeez.
The company went out of business, okay? Like, that flavor is non-existent in the world anymore, okay? Like, non-existent. So I went through and I'm like, oh, this is the worst part about this, is because I have to pick a new flavor. Every flavor I found, I've been disappointed, okay? So I picked one from the same brand. They still had a couple of bottles left of the same brand of this mango mandarin. I like mango.
Okay.
It's not bad. It sucks. It sucks so bad. It leaves this aftertaste. Like if you ever had Splenda, if you ever had Splenda, it's very similar to the Splenda aftertaste. It's got this like very saccharine sweet aftertaste in your mouth.
Okay.
I hate it. But here's the thing. So the guy who was the owner of the place, he saw the anguish and the hurt in my eyes. And this was, you ever seen that moment where you have like the shopkeeper, he leans over and says, "Follow me." And he takes you back to like the quiet, like, or the dark part of the store, like where like there's like a curtain over it and the walls aren't finished. And then he climbs up a ladder and he pulls down this dust covered bottle of like casket aged brandy that's his personal collection.
Yeah.
And he hands it to you and says, "Try this." That basically happened to me yesterday because the owner of the place, and I'll go ahead and give him the shout out, TKO. The owner of the place saw the anguish in my eyes. And he reached under the counter.
I was going to say, there's nowhere to go.
He reached under the counter and he slid across the counter. And I'm not making this up. The bottle had dust on it.
Oh, wow.
It had dust on the bottle. That sticks out in my head. He slid across his own personal bottle of Super Cherry. Like, this is his brand. This is the stuff that he uses in his vape. And he slid it across and said, "This is my personal bottle. Take it." He gave me his dust-covered, vintage, last existing on Earth bottle of Super Cherry.
You had to ask him for the formula.
Well, yeah. I said this place should go into business and make their own. But So I'm coveting this.
Yeah.
Like it's a firstborn. Like I'm using a couple of drops every now and again just to replicate. Like I'll mix in, because this stuff is terrible. So I'll mix some of the super cherry in just to kind of lighten the flavor of this. And it's like, I need to make this half bottle of super cherry last for the rest of my life, or at least until they come up with another company that's eventually going to go out of business and disappoint me again.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to rant.
I had a similar experience like that at Long John Silver's, where I think they have, not promoted, but
not a sponsor.
But they have the best fries in
Really?
town to me.
Okay.
Like better than, I've always had this opinion.
Better than Mickey D's? Sure,
since
fair enough,
I was
fair
10.
enough. Okay.
And one day, about last week, I went there to Long John Silver's, and they gave me, just something. I ordered something with fries.
Uh-huh.
And then the fries were different. And they've never been different before, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
And they look more like the Wendy's kind of fries, where they're like
the natural cut.
They're thick and they're softer, and they're not as seasoned. And it was like, it just tasted, it was like,
It's not. Oh, I completely understand.
like this is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was so miserable for that 1 second, because I was like,
You had your mouth all set up for the taste of the fries that you wanted, and you didn't get the fries that you wanted.
like,
I understand.
Is there anything left that's not broken?
That was the moment. The world is going to hell. The economy's in the toilet. But the moment Roy put the wrong fries in his mouth, that's when he realized the world is broken. I absolutely appreciate that, and I can associate with that as well.
But then I went and talked to the cashier, and it's like, you changed your fries. And then she just said, oh, yeah, that's just we just ran out of the fries.
Okay, so they didn't change. They just went to the store and got a bag of Ore-Idas, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, my midlife crisis depression was gone immediately.
That's so funny. Because I understand. It's funny that it's such a minuscule thing, but I can absolutely relate. I've had that experience, like where I think it was Burger King. They changed the formula of their fries, and it was literally the same thing. I'm like, aw, because the ones I grew up. So in the late 90s, Burger King changed their fry recipe, and they were basically sugar coating their French fries.
Okay.
It was a big deal. Like everybody was like, we're gonna have the best fries in the game, and they started. It wasn't sugar coating, but they were basically lightly, like, corn syruping all their fries before they flash froze them, and they had a little bit of a sweetness to them. So recently, like 2 years ago, they changed their fries again. It was that exact same experience. I went and I sat down, I ate my fry. I'm like, oh. It was just a sad moment. But yeah, I remember that when it happened in the 90s, because Mr. Potato Head was like the big spokesperson. I always thought, do you really want an anthropomorphic potato to be the spokesperson for your cut up potatoes?
Yeah.
That feels wrong. That feels wrong. It's like that weird moment in the mid 2000s where Mrs. Potato Head was the spokesperson for Lay's potato chips. Remember that? And Mr. Potato Head found her in the closet eating potato chips.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
It was so wrong. I'm like, this is cannibalism. You're eating your own kind. Now, granted, if my own kind was that delicious, I'd probably munch down too, but it's terrifying. All right, 21 minutes after 9 o'clock, we got to get to this interview. Coming up, we're going to pause. Actually, we got to get to the weather. Let's check in on the local weather, and then we'll take a break, pay a couple bills, and after that, our interview with Miss Amy Mateus and Colonel Jason Garcia from the Historical Society for Southeastern New Mexico on a morning without Mike Winters. And off the rails. Stay tuned.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have low pressure over southern New Mexico and that moist air from the monsoon moving a little bit into our area today. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, partly cloudy, and our afternoon high in the low 90s. Pretty good chance of rain and thunderstorms for the overnight hours. Will drop into the upper 60s. Sunshine to start the day on Thursday, and then scattered late day thunderstorms are high near 90. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 72 degrees round Roswell Way. Humidity is at 79% with winds out of the northeast at around 9 miles an hour. Barometer at 30.25 inches and a dew point of 65 degrees. Looking at isolated showers, thunderstorms before 9 a.m., then scattered showers and thunderstorms after noon. Some of those storms could produce heavy rain. Partly sunny, 91 for the high. Winds going to be sort of calm, 5 to 10 miles an hour. Chance of rain is 20 to 50%. Sliding scale for the rest of today. 60% chance of overnight showers and thunderstorms with a low of 70 degrees overnight. Again, some of those storms could produce heavy rains. They're calling for basically a tenth to a quarter of an inch of precipitation. Expect higher amounts possible in thunderstorms. 92 for the high tomorrow, under 40% chance of rain. Mostly cloudy skies for tomorrow. That chance of rain is going to dissipate as the week rolls on. 20% chance of rain on Thursday night with 69 for the overnight low. Back up to 94 on Friday with a 10 to 20% chance of the wet stuff. Then by the weekend, it's pretty much a thing of the past. 94 degrees and sunny skies for the high on Saturday. 96 and sunshine for the high on Sunday. 23 minutes after 9 o'clock. Going to pause, pay a couple of these bills, and after that, your interview with Miss Amy McVeigh-Tejas and Colonel Jason Garcia on A Morning Without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
Happiness isn't about getting what you want all the time. It's about loving what you have and being grateful for it. Hi, this is Pastor Troy and Julie Smitherman for The Joy of Marriage.
As people, we can get so focused on what we don't have, we don't appreciate what we do have. We can make ourselves miserable, angry, and even depressed by focusing our thoughts and words on the negative. Take a look around and find something to be grateful for that your spouse does. It will change your attitude in your marriage.
1 Thessalonians 5:18 says, "No matter what happens, always be thankful, for this is God's will for you who belong to Christ Jesus."
Take it from me, I was such a negative person, but by renewing my mind with God's Word and learning to be thankful, it changed my life and greatly impacted my marriage.
If you have any questions or would like further information about the Joy of Marriage Ministry, please go to jomconference.com.
The Bulls are coming to Roswell, and the savings are coming to Roswell Nissan. We have a selection of over 25 brand new vehicles on the lot, so you can ride away today in an all-new 2022 Frontier, Pathfinder, or Rogue. And the pre-owned lot is stocked with herds of practically new vehicles in stock, with many 20s and 21s in stock. And we have over 100 vehicles on the lot. When no one has vehicles, Nissan does. Get ready for bull riding action and head for Roswell Nissan, 2111 West 2nd, official sponsor of the PBR weekend, August 12th and 13th.
Coming to the Liberty, Friday, August 26th. Don't miss an evening with Neil McCoy. And special guest, Austin Van. Doors open at 6. Show starts at 8. Tickets are on sale now. Get yours before they're gone. For info on how you can become a bona fide member, visit thelibertyinc.com. Don't miss an evening with Neil McCoy and special guest, Austin Van. Friday night, August 26th. Doors open at 6. Show starts at 8 at the Liberty in Roswell. Tickets are on sale now.
Fall classes at ENMU Roswell start August 15th. Register now on campus or online. Whether you're a new student, returning student, or want to learn new skills or a trade, we have the programs and financial aid to support you every step of the way. Take classes during the day, evening, or online. Talk with an advisor today. Call 575-624-7294 or log on to roswell.enmu.edu.
ENMU Roswell.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. There are 293 ways to make change for $1. Try all 293 on the guy who keeps borrowing money from you. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 22 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Historical Society for Southeast New Mexico, Amy McVeigh-Tejas back with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Good deal. Everything going well at the museum this morning?
Everything's rocking and rolling.
Good. Roof's still working.
We have a couple of things going on over there. We're good.
Good deal.
Okay.
But for folks that aren't aware, you're trying hard not to be aware at this point. But if you're not aware, the Historical Society for Southeast New Mexico would love to invite everyone out for our next dinner event. Mm-hmm. It will be happening here August 25th, a couple weeks away. Right. Reminder for everybody, school, everything. It's all coming
right
up
around the
real
corner.
quick. Yeah.
It's coming.
We're about to get busy again. The summer lounging is about to go the way of the dodo.
That's right.
But August 25th, we're having a drive-through fundraising event. So it's still minimal effort on your part. But we want to honor our past Heritage Dinner recipients, and we want to do it with this dinner and everything, and we'll have an awesome booklet and all. We'll talk more about that stuff, but really, it is a fundraiser for us in that facility and paying for the maintenance and upkeep of that, along with continuing our programs and doing things, our fourth grade tours and Sunday fun days and things like that. This all helps keep those going. But we're gonna have another, just like we did in these past dinners, Peppers.
Celebrating baseball and bringing in hundreds of kids to celebrating, hey, literally the Mexico. So we have had
going. I'm sure you've seen those. This is kind of the how it started, how it's going of the Historical Society, because for as long as you guys have had your doors open, we've been honoring history, honoring the past. Even the Historical Society itself is the JP White House. It's a museum to a bygone era. And you guys have done such a great job of maintaining that.
Well, thank God there's not a humorous punchline at the end of that, because it is a pretty impressive list of awardees and folks that we've honored. So
absolutely,
it is.
Yeah.
And one thing that I love to talk about is in history. I mean, our job is to talk about the past, but I'm really excited to talk about the future.
Yes,
and what the next 40 years look
well,
like.
Well, that's been our challenge is paring it down to a specific person or group of people each year. There's so many deserving folks out there, but it's difficult.
It really is.
And that's something that I like the fact that you're focused on the future and moving forward, but we can't do that unless we have working facilities, unless we have a good roof, unless we
have a good point.
Oh man,
it takes a lot of money to run that archive facility, to keep things up to code over there. So these are things that these fundraisers absolutely scratch that itch.
I'm one to say to not take things for granted, and I think we do that often.
Oh, yeah.
And there is a time if we do not come together as a community, which I've lived here my whole life, and we always show up, right? May show up late, or may show up right, but we show up. But there is a time that, people may not want to speak of it. There's a time that the museum could be closed and we could still try to celebrate history. So we do not need to take things for granted, and we're not done doing what we need to do, right, Jace?
Well, it's
we are not. We're never done.
The property has lots of projects that we need to address.
But we do need your support.
Yes,
if you're
we can
listening,
only do that with the donations.
And if you're listening, and we say it, we've said it again, and I'll continue saying it, every penny counts. If you can't afford a dinner for one reason or another, drive through and drop off change.
Yeah.
If you've purchased a dinner and you could pay it forward, give us a call. Rick Kraft, if you're listening, I got a message last night late. We're out of town. How can we help? So they're showing up to help, even though they're not there.
Awesome.
They're going to send a donation. We're going to pay it forward because that's the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
And we're going to have somebody. I was trying to already. Jason knows how I work. I'm trying to think. Okay, the Rick Kraft. How can I pay it forward? But we will. We're paying it forward to people that have never been able, for one reason or another, to enjoy these deals.
Sure.
Enjoy these fun fundraisers.
It's an awesome concept too, and it's something that
it's fun.
You look at COVID. There's not a lot of good that came out of the Rona, but one of the good things that actually came out of COVID was us discovering the concept of the drive-through fundraiser. It works so well. It seems that people seem to like it a lot more. They don't have to get all dressed up and gussied up. They can just come as they are.
Right.
It's less pressure on us, the donator.
Well, you should see how many people drive through in their button-up shirt and tie, and then they're wearing sweatpants and sandals.
Right? The typical Zoom.
That's
Zoom
right.
Uniform.
Attire. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's
But
perfect.
it is a lot of fun. And I'm proud to say this is a well-oiled engine. We're doing this right, and we do have a lot of fun.
Oh,
Somebody
man.
said, why in the world are you still doing it? Are you kidding me? We have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mike Winters is going to wear his fishnets this time or not.
We're working on it. We're
Okay.
we're working on different costumery.
I know somebody's listening, and we really technically haven't had a challenge for this event, but we kind of do. But timing is everything. So if you're listening, let's work on this specific challenge. I know you're listening, Gary. I know you are.
Okay.
So we need a challenge, and it's a lot of fun. We want to have fun. And by the way, if people didn't listen last time, Tina Williams will be part of Hot Club on the Pecos will be there.
Okay.
And her Golden Soul will be there. Will be there hanging out. So we'll have some music to enjoy while you're listening. And I want to say thank you to Gene Dow and Mike and I. We sat down to really try to get an idea of some fun entertainment through your amazing station to watch online. So you can go home and watch them.
KSVPTV.com is going to be involved. We're going to be doing, I believe, a video presentation there through KSVP TV, so you can actually check that out. And the beauty of that is you can check that out whether you paid for the ticket or you didn't pay for the ticket.
Oh, that's cool.
There are golden opportunities.
It's a great chance to get be a part of history. But why would you want to jump into that history of southeastern New Mexico without delicious peppers right in front of you?
There you go.
I mean, that's what it's all about. So the whole event starts out. It's 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. It all starts at the Historical Society at 200 North Lee on August 25th, 5:30. Everybody lines up there. There's a short presentation there at the Historical Society, correct? Awesome. And then then the caravan starts.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
And it's cool, the caravan, as it happens, because you're also experiencing history kind of as you go.
That's true.
Different pictures, different memories. You're driving through the historical district. And it all rounds up at Pepper's Grill and Bar for a fantastic dinner. You guys definitely pull out all the stops with this dinner. And they did make sure to mention, by the way, generous portions. They know their target audience.
I forget what the menu is, but I know it was good when I saw it.
Well,
there you go.
Let me give you a refresher.
Okay,
good. Start out with a shrimp appetizer for $2.
Well, that sounds
That's
good.
all for me. Yeah. Let's face it. That's why you find somebody who doesn't like shrimp.
There
you find
you
somebody
go.
who's not into seafood. Oh, I don't like seafood. You're
There you
mine.
No shit.
You're my +1.
There you go.
Then you get one beef entree, which is braised beef tips. One chicken entree, which is spinach and artichoke grilled chicken. It's served with red new mashed potatoes, summer squash medley, rolls, butter, and a dessert for $2.
That's right.
That sounds
Nice.
And that fun dessert is going to be chocolate chip monkey bread with bourbon sauce.
Oh,
What?
Nice.
all right.
And they pulled out all the
See,
stuff.
now you're talking. You're like chocolate chip, okay. Monkey bread, I'm in. Whoa, yeah, with bourbon sauce, heck
There you
yeah.
go.
So it's this year's it's all about honoring past award recipients, but also honoring the ones from this year as well. Correct?
Right. It's just kind of, we wanted to take a moment as the buzzword is pivot. We wanted to take a moment to pivot and kind of just bring along all these 40s the way I see it and prepare preparation for the next 40. So we're celebrating all 40. And one thing we haven't mentioned is you need to obtain a ticket of this year's drive-through, or you will not be able to get the commemorative booklet, which we've just finalized. That amazing booklet, and it's going to just it's got some treasures, if you will, and we're going to leave it at that.
It's some.
You will not be able to obtain this otherwise. It is a unique perspective, something unique in our archives from the beginning, and I kind of think it's again bringing the past and preparing us for the future, and it's really exciting.
I like that.
We just placed an order. There's some things that are going to be in this goodie bag, if you will. So when you come through, you're going to get your ticket. You're going to get a goodie bag. What you're getting in that bag, only individuals that purchase ticket will be able to get.
Right. And it's $100 for the for the main ticket, which is includes the dinner for $2. You can purchase the table, which is $500. That feeds 10 people. That also includes the swag bag, a decorative centerpiece. And delivery as well.
That's exactly right.
In the $500 package. So, but again, the deadline to RSVP is today.
Please,
Yes,
absolutely, absolutely.
We're worn out. I'm already sweating. We're just beginning the day,
and that's completely understandable. You guys are very busy. I mean, because this is just the tip of the iceberg. Because then coming up in September, the CAPS program.
Yay!
That's going to be another fun one too.
It's really exciting.
Awesome.
A lot of that's I love because I don't know a lot about some of this. So it's really, really exciting. We're really excited to get these kids involved. Individuals listening, if you're not familiar with the CAPS program, we really encourage to give the Society of Colorado Roswell Museum at the Roswell Community Little Theater.
Yes.
These kids do amazing things.
They really, really do.
Really.
And it's so awesome to see the kids get into the stories of the characters that they're
excited
portraying.
about history.
Right.
not only are we teaching them, but then they get a chance to teach us, and you learn stuff, I never knew before,
That's right.
It's amazing that history comes alive when they do these events. And they do these throughout the year. I think this is maybe the first one they've done in a few months. But I think last year they did a couple as well. But it's always awesome to see history come alive and to be there to help support the Historical Society. So that's just one of the events coming up. I mean, you guys keep busy. What else do you have on the horizon?
The challenge is on. So the challenge is on. We've got some history clubs in the works. We've lost some history clubs just due to transitioning. Teachers have moved, relocated.
Sure.
So the challenge is on for this. Anybody listening that wants their child to get involved with their school and get a history club going, a pizza party's on the line. So I want to challenge a class or a school to get a pizza party going. What that means is there are to my knowledge, we've only had one elementary school in Roswell with a history club, and that's Valley View. So Valley View, if you're listening, you do not count. That engine has already started. We've got that choo-choo train going.
Sure.
We've had history clubs in a couple of middle schools. We've had history clubs at both high schools. But life has been hard as we've been doing a little bit of pivoting. So I want a new school to come along and say, we're all in. What does that mean? Pretty much we could walk you through that process. All we need is a school to get involved and say, whatever that means, we're in. So call the museum at 622-8333. I guarantee you, Jason and I would both love to bring pizza and goodies to a school that gets a history club. Now, we can't feed the whole school,
sure,
but we surely can feed kids that want to get involved and celebrate history at any elementary school, middle school, high school, and private school. That is included.
Awesome. You know what? I've seen whole classrooms of students mind their teacher for an entire school year on the promise of a pizza party.
A pizza party.
So I mean, this is
the challenge.
It's amazing what you can get with pizza.
That's a big get. That's a big get right there.
Hey, I'm even challenging Jason. You never know.
I like it.
You got to bribe me to get some things done.
And that could be at New Mexico Military Institute also. We've never really done that either.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're listening, all you need to do is give us a call, partner with your child, grandchild school, and we would be happy to get something going. I would absolutely love us to have to extend our newsletter to give updates on all the history clubs. That would be
That'd
so
be awesome,
cool.
man.
You know, like those old wallets that you used to pan out for pictures?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Here, let me show you all my
That
family.
would be so amazing to have to update the Roswell Independent School District with all these history clubs going on.
The modern version of that right now
amazing.
is, here, let me show you my cats. That's the modern version of that. So, but yeah, that's awesome. I mean, so, any kids out there who want to dive into history, and you're in a great place to dive into history. Southeastern New Mexico is so rich with not only local history of southeastern or the southwest, western part of the United States, Native American history.
Right.
There's so much to explore. It's a rich tapestry, as they say.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is a great opportunity to not only to make history come alive, but also to get some free pizza.
And Leadership Roswell's fixing to head back here. I can't believe that program's already started again.
Wow.
They will be starting again in the first class. Yay! In the afternoon, they'll be touring the museum. So if you're part of an organization and need a special tour, we would love to partner with you on a meeting or anything like that, and start booking your events for Christmas now. Our calendar's filling up. So if you need a facility like the archive facility.
The archive facility is a great place to hold your event or get together. They can absolutely facilitate you. Also, if you, I know that the schools kind of things getting back to normal. They're going to be, fourth graders going to be doing their tours. I guess
usually in the spring.
Usually in the springtime.
We haven't booked that time. Usually March, April, something like that.
But if you're a private organization, if you're a group, church, youth group or something like that, and you want to do
really cool.
Do a tour, you can absolutely do private tours. That's not a problem.
And Jason's always coming up with fun mystery things or whatever. So maybe they could do a night tour.
We did
or
a scavenger hunt.
A scavenger hunt would be awesome in the JP White House because there's so much to explore. The other thing that would be cool is an escape room.
Oh, I got
it.
So the escape rooms are real big. Like if you did around Halloween, if you did a murder mystery inside the JP White House, I think that'd be kind of fun. I know there's parts of the house that we can't really access that we don't touch.
That's right.
But maybe move the rope and let us have access to a staircase. Just one time. Hire a stunt man, have him stand at the top of the staircase, we'll push him down.
Oh,
It'll be fun.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
We're always open to new opportunities.
Awesome. And that's what it's all about. It's really just keeping history alive. And I mean, with even this last weekend with the last escapability of the kid going down in Lincoln.
Oh yeah, old Lincoln days.
Yeah,
It was good.
It certainly was. I was the whole weekend. I didn't even go to the concert, but the whole weekend I was walking around just
That's
singing
great.
Wildfire.
I love it.
Oh, I did
That's
watch
so
the concert. It was
Oh,
good.
But,
that's great.
But yeah, no, just with all the history there is here in southeastern New Mexico, it's great that there's organizations like the Historical Society that are keeping history alive. And you guys are doing great work with that. So again, it's all going down August 25th. That's a Thursday, and it's a drive-through event from 5:30 to 6:30, starting at the Historical Society. It ends up at Pepper's Grill and Bar. The menu's fantastic. It's a great chance to to do something to give back to the community, and also, have a great time. It's a blast. A chance to see, rub elbows with folks here in Roswell. You never know who's going to show up.
That's true.
And the cloud on Facebook afterwards when you get to post up the pictures.
That's true. And if you have a friend, partner up with them and each put in $50 and
I don't know
get
that we've had anybody eat their dinner on our lawn watching the band, but I guess they could.
Oh, that's true. I guess I agree. They absolutely.
There you go. So if you want more information, again, the deadline to RSVP is today. But if you need a couple of days, I'm sure they'll facilitate. Just a couple, though, all right? If you want more information, 622-8333. You can also go to roswellnmhistory.org for reservations and donation information. So come on out, folks. It's a great chance to help out the Historical Society and to really dive headfirst into history. Who are the recipients this year?
This year is celebrating the last 40.
Okay.
That's exactly
Celebrating
right.
the last 40.
Gotcha. Okay, so this year we're taking a second
There you
to
go.
celebrate everybody.
That's right.
Next year we'll kickstart the next 40.
Yes.
I like it.
And the list is long and distinguished.
Like I said, it's difficult to just pick one.
It's so hard.
I understand. Well, as I was looking at this list too, I think that's why, towards the end, we started getting to the dairy industry of Chaves County, restaurants of Roswell past and present, because there's a lot that covers,
That's right.
And so, so that's what we do.
I really like those type of events, though, because it's kind of a time to celebrate in the beginning and the evolution of where we've come. And then again, we can't, as the Historical Society celebrates history, we still are excited about the future. I always say this, I believe it, the best is yet to come. We just need help.
Right.
We need support. And Roswell's amazing to show up, come together, work together for the good. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. It's a trip down memory lane. It's going down August 25th, starting at the Historical Society there at 200 North Lee. And again, more information, 622-8333 or roswellnmhistory.org for all the info that you need to know. Well, Miss Amy, Colonel, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate having you guys here.
We appreciate it.
As always.
We'll have you guys
and prayers to Mike and everybody.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, hopefully have Mixmaster Mike back where he belongs very soon.
There you go.
That's the hope. 16 minutes away from 9 o'clock. Absolutely. Yep. Well, hopefully have Mixmaster Mike back where he belongs very soon.
There you go.
That's the hope. 16 minutes away from 9
Now your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. The Eddy County Health Council is looking for new members. The council's goal is to identify and address health needs in Eddy County, according to Sarah Bowman, the interim coordinator of the council. New Mexico Community Health Councils play key roles in the state's public health system, mobilizing communities, identifying local health needs, and planning and coordinating solutions to access those needs. And a local man and his girlfriend are now arrested for burglarizing several businesses in a 3-week period during June and July in Roswell. The pair targeted 2 vehicle repair shops and a hair salon, stealing more than $20,000 worth of various items. Jesse Miller and Angela Paz are implicated in the case, according to a statement from Roswell Police. The burglaries occurred beginning June 23rd at MTA Mechanics and Tires in the 600 block of South Main Street, then on July 12th at United Auto Repair on East Albuquerque Street, and the July 13th, the Heron Company business at 200 West 3rd. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
The truth and nothing but. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
What we can say for sure is the same people that spied on a president and the same group of people that abused power and had an insurance plan are still in power at some of the highest levels of government. Welcome to the United States of America. We're losing our country. We have a dual system of justice. I have been saying this again and again. And that is you have one system for them. If you're a liberal, if you're a Democrat, it doesn't matter what you do. Nothing will ever happen. If you're a conservative, you get a pre-dawn raid, you get guns drawn, you get fake news CNN cameras, and you get the book thrown at you. You spit on the sidewalk, you'll get 10 years in jail.
Keeping you on the straight path. Later today, it's the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, it's summertime, and if your project to-do list looks anything like mine, it's probably pretty long. You can stay cool, save up to 40% off site-wide at Blinds.com, and ordering online does not mean sacrificing style or service. At Blinds.com, they have premium selections of shades and shutters and drapes and so much more. They have outdoor shades. Just go to Blinds.com right now, save up to 40% off site-wide, up to 40% off site-wide at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The U.S. Treasury once considered producing donut-shaped coins. They instead decided to go with coin-shaped donuts. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. 12 minutes away from 10 o'clock. Let's get you up to date with the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have low pressure over southern New Mexico and that moist air from the monsoon moving a little bit into our area today. Scattered showers and thunderstorms. Partly cloudy and our afternoon high in the low 90s. Pretty good chance of rain and thunderstorms for the overnight hours. Will drop into the upper 60s. Sunshine to start the day on Thursday and then scattered late day thunderstorms are high near 90. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Report. Football season starts in a week and a couple of days. Let's do a little recap this morning for the Goddard Rockets. Remember, Goddard last year made it to the state semifinals and lost to eventual champ Los Lunas 26-21 on the road. The Rockets had defeated Valley and Roswell in the playoffs. And the Rockets have some guys coming back. Javen Morales, a first-team All-State selection at running back last year when he was only a junior. You've also got Landon Victor at the defensive line. He was a junior last year, second-team All-State selection, also a second All-Team selection. And inside linebacker last season was Hector Salvare. He should be back on the roster this season, and the Goddard Rockets certainly are looking forward to another good season. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. The July Consumer Price Index shows inflation remains near a 40-year high, an 8.5% gain year over year. That is a bit of an improvement from June's inflation report.
The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reports today the gasoline index fell 7.7% in July. That offset increases in the food and shelter indexes. Over the past 12 months, the all items index increased 8.5% before seasonal adjustments. The index for all items, less food and energy, rose 0.3% in July. A smaller increase than in April, May, or June. Bob Agnew reporting.
Wall Street opened higher this morning, the market encouraged by the slight cooling of inflation in July. Elon Musk has sold nearly $7 billion worth of shares in Tesla as the billionaire gets his finances in order ahead of his court battle with Twitter. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
Jennifer here from Trustmark Roofing, and I know you've heard me say that you can trust Trustmark, but I want you to know what that looks like in real life. A few years ago, we installed a beautiful new roof for an older woman who was recently widowed. She was an artist and colors were really important to her. So when she said she didn't like the color of a brand new roof, we took that seriously. She had picked the color and signed off on it, but I just kept thinking, if she's going to walk into her house every day and be disappointed, then we're just going to redo it. So we did. We ripped that beautiful new roof off and replaced it with a slightly different color, and she was thrilled. Yes, it cost us quite a bit of money to make her happy, but I want you to know you can trust Trustmark to make it exactly right every time. If you have any roofing needs, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Get ready to take your taste buds to a whole new level. The Paleta Bar is now open at the GameStop Shopping Center next to Zales. The best Mexican-style ice pops made fresh every day. Dip, half dip, or drizzle on an endless array of toppings. Plus refreshing agua frescas, dory nachos, elotes, and more. Be there for the grand opening, Saturday, August 13th, with special hours on opening day. Performances by the Charlie's Angels at noon, and Roswell's own Placito will perform in the morning and afternoon. Lots of gift card giveaways, raffles, and more. See you at the grand opening of the all-new Paleta Bar on North Main next to Zales in Roswell, Saturday, August 13th. 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
At Anderson Bethany Funeral Home and Crematorium, we honor and pay tribute to the achievements of your loved one by celebrating the life you shared together. Anderson Bethany Funeral Home and Crematorium is compassionate and cares about our local community and the families we serve here in southeastern New Mexico. Locally owned and operated, we will be here to help you decide how to celebrate the bond you've shared and pay tribute to the unique individual you've lost. Visit us at 2609 South Main in Roswell or call 622-5888.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Due to extreme pressure and weather conditions, it literally rains diamonds on Neptune and Uranus. Stop snickering because I said Uranus. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 7 minutes away from 10 o'clock on this
camera's not on.
Wet Wednesday. It's not on, that's fine. I got into this business to not be on camera, okay? It's fine. It's just fine. If you missed any portion of the program, you can always go back and check it out in its entirety over at ksvptv.com. And once this whole shindig is over, young Roybert here will take the interviews and get them up piecemeal over on our Facebook page. We missed the opportunity in the 7 o'clock hour because we were off the air to chat with the Chaves County Federated Republican Women. We'll be chatting with them tomorrow morning in the 7 o'clock hour. Seeing what's going on with them. In the 8 o'clock hour, had a great conversation with Mr. Brian Luck, the superintendent for the Roswell Independent School District. Wishing him nothing but the best of his last name for the upcoming school year. And, of course, we just ran our interview with Ms. Amy Gateas and Colonel Jason Garcia from the Historical Society for Southeastern New Mexico. You can find all those interviews, again, ksvptv.com or all of our KSVP TV social media. So we were talking off the air.
Just real quick.
Yeah, of course.
Just because you don't see the beast, it doesn't mean the beast isn't there. Be careful playing with somebody's kindness. They have tamed their beast. Just because you don't see the beast.
So I actually get where that's good. Just because you don't see the beast doesn't mean it's not there. Be careful playing with someone who's learned how to tame the beast. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. I've known people like that. I've known a lot of people like that, and those people tend to wear the T-shirts from the brand Grunt Style. An ex-girlfriend comes to mind, actually, because, yeah.
Sorry if I ruined your train of thought.
Oh, no, that's fine. So what's that from? Is that just like a random TikTok you saw?
That was a random Twitter post that I saw.
Oh, okay.
It has like Spider-Man on it, and it's supposed to be funny and random.
It's so funny. You've mentioned, I feel like you're trying to make Twitter a thing in this office. You've mentioned it like 9 times this morning. I don't tweet. I've never.
It's become my main news source for the past week.
YouTube is that for me, but I can respect that. But I've had like 9 Twitter accounts over the course of like my career in radio, and I've used them like for one tweet a piece. Mm-hmm. Like the most recent Twitter account I had was when I was on a former station. The boss I had at the time thought it was my responsibility to be watching and live tweeting Dancing with the Stars and America's Got Talent. I had to have like a witty thing to say after every single act. That's tough, man. Because like when I go home, I turn off. I'm not this guy.
Right.
So I have to be like witty in my free time. Are you kidding me?
You're like Googling like their history. Like what can I make fun of?
Yeah, I was. And I'm sure that's probably the closest I've ever gotten to being canceled because I'm sure I made some off-color jokes there at some point. Because I was trying to be funny. On the fly. It's not easy, all right?
You can't be funny nowadays.
You really can't. It's hard out here. It's hard out here trying to be funny. No, what I was going to say was you'd mentioned this earlier. You'd brought up a tweet that reminded me of the DARE program. Now, you're probably too young to remember DARE. Did you go through DARE?
I saw the signs in school.
Okay.
And that kept me off drugs.
That kept you off. So for those who are too young to remember, DARE was the Drug Abuse Resistance Education Program. And it hit on like a different level. They were really trying to tackle the war on drugs head on. It's just funny to me looking back, thinking about the fact that you see like signs for dispensaries for recreational use now, and just that 20 years ago, it was the DARE program. And this is where I trigger a bunch of people who are my age's memories. When I was in school, elementary school, they wheeled in the this was a big deal because when you were in school, they had like the Promethean boards and stuff, I'm sure. But when we were in school, they wheeled in the TV. Did you ever have that?
Yeah, the big box TV.
Yes, with the VCR combo or whatever. So they wheeled in the TV. I knew this was going to be a big deal. They wheeled in the TV and they showed us this show called Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue.
Yeah.
I knew this was going to be a big deal because opening the video was President George Bush Sr. and his wife Barbara. And they gave a minute-long presentation about why this video was so important. We really don't have time to dive into it, but the video was so big for me because it melded so many worlds of cartoons. It was like Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse were there, plus the Ninja Turtles and Garfield. I think the Transformers were in there somewhere. The Muppet Babies were down here. And it was all to get this one kid off of drugs. And the drugs that he was on were like 3-pinner joints and what only could be described as like a wooden, like hourglass. I don't know what was in that box, but it was the box of drugs. And they were trying to get him off of his box of drugs. It was absolutely ridiculous looking back. And it's still on YouTube, by the way, in its entirety. Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue. Go find it. It is definitely worth the view. It's incredibly entertaining.
It reminds me of the like people say Avengers Endgame was the biggest crossover in history. And then people find stuff like this. It's like
Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue was like, it was up there with Roger Rabbit because you were mixing so many different brands. You had your Disney franchise mixed with your Warner Brothers franchise. That was unheard of. But they all came together to fight marijuana.
Yeah.
It's just real funny looking back, man. The DARE program didn't do much of anything. We got to wrap things up. Big thanks to everybody for joining us for whatever portion of the program we were actually on the air today. We'll be back hopefully in full force tomorrow morning with another morning without Mike Winters. Stay tuned. Travis and Sexton on their way to your radios coming up here in just a few minutes. You are listening to 106.5 KEND, Roswell's Talk FM. See you tomorrow.
Talk radio has landed on the all-new 106.5 FM KEND.